But I think the development of full artificial intelligence would spell the end of the human race.
It's a flying object, and we don't know what it is. I would hope somebody's checking it out.
I don't know whether rockets or whatever, but it could be fast, opposite direction. They would be fast to get out there.
I'm glad the Pentagon is looking at this, because if it poses a threat, I want them on top of it.
Well, the craft generates its own gravitational field.
You said there's lights in the sky?
The internet has become the command center for criminals and terrorists.
Aliens won't let it happen. You know, that's what we're instructed to say.
Roswell, Area 51. Alien kept deep under the ground.
Doesn't have your best interest in mind. The government is self-serving. You're here for a reason. You're listening to Troubled Minds Radio. Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest into the digital darkness.
All right, good evening and welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and hello to all of you who may also have troubled minds. This show is live. We do it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and we talk about all the things we're not allowed to talk about. You know what those things are. Yeah, that's right. Aliens, conspiracy, the paranormal, the government, academia, the 24-hour news cycle, propaganda, and the general feeling that we live in the upside down. Like I said, this show is live. We do it Monday through Thursday, 7 p.m. Pacific. And we are streaming on, yep, that's right, Rockfin, YouTube, DLive, and Periscope, and we are broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. And, well, I'll tell you what, if these technocrats want to play games and they want to bump us off and make it so that we can't even reach our own audience, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll just move somewhere else. We'll just simply move somewhere else. And that's what we did. So goodbye to Facebook, Troubled Minds. I'm sorry if that was your platform of choice. Well, it's becoming untenable. And so, as many of you on the radio know, it doesn't affect you at all, except we do a live stream. We have a video and the whole thing, and as part of a companion piece to the radio show. And as I said yesterday, as I was really, really angry yesterday, not like lose my mind angry, but I was irritated yesterday that literally, right? How do you spend years building an audience on a particular platform and then they just magically shut off your reach to said audience? Like, can you imagine if you had, well, I don't know, let's say 40,000 followers on YouTube and then none of them ever got notifications? I mean, I know they play those type of games, but man, Facebook just goes nuclear. They just shut it all off so nobody gets notifications at all, and that's it. And your show's done, and on that platform anyway. And so I'm done entertaining it. I'm done playing those games, and so we're on to something else. We're on to Rockfin. Like I said, I'm going to sound like a Rockfin commercial for the next several months here as we just start to figure out what's going on and decide where the best place is for troubled minds, because there are prying ears out there, and they're no longer regular prying ears, like speaking of regular people listening, that's a good thing. But prying ears meaning that the technocrats are transcribing every word. They're feeding everything that we say and we think because, of course, they're trying to predict what we think before we think it. And then they're feeding all of our data points into these algorithms to do what? What do you think they're trying to do? And this is what the show is about tonight, by the way. So I'm not just on a ramble-a-thon. I mean, I do that sometimes, but, well, I do it all the time. It's a talk show after all. But, I mean, that's the thing. What do you think the end goal is? If you're talking about actual, control, right? That's what this is about. It's about control. It's about controlling freedom of speech. It's about controlling freedom of thought. It's about controlling all of these things. And so, fortunately, there are options. And so we don't have to be stuck with the same old garbage that everybody else is eating. We can step up to organic internet, as it were, if you know what I mean. That's not really a thing, by the way. I just made that up. But that's what's going on. So we'll just put that drama to bed. But if you guys are missing the video format and you haven't seen Rockfin, I highly recommend you check it out. Rockfin.com/troubledminds, and you'll see us live streaming right on there and reading all the chat, catching up with the chat on Rockfin and everywhere else. So appreciate you guys hanging out with us there, and Facebook, sorry, not Facebook, on YouTube and DLive and Periscope as well. But okay, so like I was saying before I got a little agitated and off track, is that, well, the thing is this. We are live, like I said, and so this conversation begins at approximately 7:06 p.m., Monday through Friday. And it's a two-way thing. So I hope to bring you something that's, like I said, the idea here is to tell a story in a way using the news cycle and using just the things that they do, right? The things that they sort of force us into. And as you notice, right, like just in the last 4 to 6 years, like everything is literally just spun off the rails. Politically, people can't even be in the same room with each other. Families are like being broken up by what? By politics? Like, are you kidding me? Like, sure, it's always been like a hot button thing because the brainwash is deep and goes deep regarding those topics. However, it's not necessary. Like, this is one of those things that is absolutely not part of what human beings should be subjected to. And I think that's part of the issue here. If you sort of look at some other things regarding maybe brainwashing and the rest of this stuff, I don't think humans were made for this. You know, we've evolved differently. We're not used to being subjected to, you know, like the suddenly, bam, you snap your fingers and now the next generation is a complete brainwash bombardment 24 hours a day. We're not set up for that. But anyway, so starting the conversation is my job. And so your job, if you're out there listening, is to be part of this conversation. And the thing we do is this. We have a phone number. We have a Discord, a couple Discords actually, and that's what we're doing tonight. So if you want to be part of the show, 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. And you can click the Discord link and join us there at troubledminds.org. That's the official website. And also fringe.fm/chat. That will give you a direct invite to the Fringe FM Discord, and that's what's going on with that. So it is the same program, Discord. The two chat rooms are just two different chat rooms, two different audiences in two different places. So those audiences have overlapped in many cases. So, but come join both, because there's a lot of good people in there, a lot of good folks sharing good information. That again is not, as far as I'm aware, Discord is one of those things as well that is not censored. It's not being actively censored, unless of course you're harboring terrorists or something like this, right? Which of course we are not, but instead, right, they're trying to malign people who think freely as terrorists. What's up? I see you guys in the chat there in Rockfin. Yep, former Facebook followers. Yes, there it is. All right, so that's what's on my mind tonight, is not just tech censorship, but why are they doing this? Like in particular, so let's just use the example from Troubled Minds, right? Like I said, the thing that gets me really miffed about all of it is that you spend years, literally years, fighting or not fighting, building an audience, and then with the flick of a switch, they take it away from you, right? They want you to pay money to reach the same audience that you worked hard to build over years. I mean, it's just incredibly unfair. But then, of course, what they are doing is they're picking and choosing the winners, right? They are doing exactly what crony capitalism is all about, right? It's not about allowing the best ideas to really come to the top. It's about shutting down dissent, right? It's about getting the ideas that you want as the technocratic overlord in the faces of everybody. That's what this is about. And of course, it's about collecting every like micro minute of your data and using it as a weapon against you, using it to sell you things you may or may not need. It's a way to track if people are depressed. I mean, you can see a lot of this stuff. You just go to some of these documentaries. There's a great one on Netflix that Matt was talking about yesterday, by the way. And they talk. It's called the Social Dilemma. If anybody's seen that, and it's just you see how these algorithms. Now I've seen that. I've seen it on Netflix. If you guys have seen that, I recommend you check it out. But also do know that some of that information in that documentary itself was misrepresented because, well, that's what they do, right? You have to misrepresent things to make a point on TV, and that's what TV is. The entire medium is misrepresentation to make points, right? Or you could say brainwashing. All right, and that's really what it is. So it's unfortunate, but here we are anyway. We're gonna survive. We're gonna keep on trucking. We're gonna get around this. But okay, so. As I was looking through the news today, we haven't done a surveillance show in quite some time. And, just because we don't talk about it doesn't mean it's not happening. I think that's quite obvious. But there are some things happening that's a little bit strange, right? We've all heard of something called the Internet of Things, right? IoT, you guys have probably heard this, the IoT devices, Internet of Things. Well, there's something else, by the way. There's actually a step greater than Internet of Things, and we'll get to that in a little bit here. But so the Internet of Things is like an IoT device would be like, as they're describing everything as a smart appliance, a smart device, right? So like an IoT, like we always say, is that it's an IoT device is something like a smart toaster, right? A smart refrigerator, something like this. Like the refrigerator is constantly scanning and keeping track of your groceries as you put them in the fridge, and then when they run out, it can either text you a shopping list or order those things directly off of something like Amazon or like a grocery service, things like this. And that's just a brief rundown of the Internet of Things. Of course, it's going to be more ubiquitous than just your refrigerator or your toaster. It's going to be everything. It's going to be probably locked into your Ring devices and things like this, right? If you're expecting a package, maybe you'll get notifications from Ring that your package has arrived because they know that you're expecting it, because they're tapped into everything and everything is tapped into each other. And yeah, just weirdness, right? So as everything becomes more interconnected, this is what they're calling the Internet of Things, all right? And of course, right, the much hyped 5G conspiracy of all the rest of this stuff, these towers, and is this stuff even safe for like the cellular radiation that's coming from not just 5G, of course, 4G, 3G, and all the rest of this. We're really honestly the first generation that's been subjected to this on a widespread basis. If you go back even to my generation, we got the millennials now. What is it? Do they call them Gen Z? And then there's what's beyond that? No, they're babies right now, but there's another generation coming up, and these unfortunate younger folks are going to be literally surrounded by 5G signals, by radio waves from terrestrial radio, from you name it, 4G signals, from Bluetooth, everywhere. It's everywhere. You can't escape it. And except if you lose all your devices and you go to the desert or the country or something like this, that's how you can escape it. All right, and even then you're probably not safe because there's probably cell service out there. So okay, now the weird part here is, like I said, we all know what the Internet of Things is. All right. So, and like I said, some scary implications because they have to put these 5G towers, like they said, like they're going to be every 100 meters from each other or something like this, and they're going to put them in neighborhoods out in front of houses. And that's happening, right? Like there's all kinds of just weirdness happening with that. This show isn't about 5G and radiation and cellular damage and any of that stuff, right? But it is a notable thing that we are the first generation of folks right now that are experiencing these levels of small radiation bursts, as you would call them, or that's what I'll call them because I'm lack of a better term right now. But we're being subjected to it all the time. So it's one thing if it's in a low dose. Sure, fine. Maybe that's fine. But if it's literally from the moment you're born in the hospital, there's Wi-Fi signals and Bluetooth and all kinds of stuff going on, and then you come home as a little bitty baby and you're surrounded by Bluetooth and all the rest of this stuff, right? Like you're surrounded by just literally from day one. Not even that from in the womb. It's actually like affecting you in the womb as well. So that in and of itself is terrifying. It's a terrifying aspect is what we're going to look like, as a human species 100 years from now. That's the horrifying part about this. And there are studies to suggest even 3G and 4G are not safe in long exposure type doses. So I don't know. Like I said, as always, we live in that post-truth world where it's nearly impossible to really come up with an answer here because you have the telecom say, no, it's safe. There's no problems here. Then you have, they have some of these other scientists that have done tests and they say, no, that we're frying rats here and it suggests that it's not safe in huge long-term dosage. I don't know. Like I said, it depends on who you ask. Like anything, right? It depends on who you ask. And so that's what this is about. That's what this conversation is about tonight. In particular, not just these radiation signals. Like I said, it's not really about that, but it kind of is because we're talking about the Internet of Things. Now, let me pull up this article, and this is what got me thinking about this. Now, it wasn't just the Internet of Things, all right? Like I said, there's another thing. There's a whole extra step beyond the Internet of Things. And what do you think that is? What do you think it's called? Have you guys heard of this? If you haven't, well, I'm about to fill you in. What's up, guys? I see you all there on Rockfin. Thanks for showing up and hanging out. I see you guys there on Facebook and everywhere else. Thanks. See you in Fringe Discord. Trying to watch all the chats and do all the things at the same time. And it looks easier on TV. I'll tell you that. But anyway, I digress. Let's get to this article. Now, this is a little bit nuts. Okay, this is from Scientific American, and this is from today. Yep, that's right. So there's some comments in this article. This article is basically based on just different experts making comments about this new thing. And this new thing isn't so new, it just doesn't get a lot of play. Like I said, people talk about the Internet of Things and how it's not really, it's not set up for people. It's set up for machines. So machines can communicate with each other and make decisions themselves based on a set of parameters, right? Or, of course, algorithms, as it were. And that's what 5G and the Internet of Things is all about. Now, because, of course, right, if you look at who out there has streaming problems anymore? Like you pretty much have to live in like a very, very, way out there area where there's almost nothing around, kind of in the country sort of thing, to even have streaming problems anymore. Like if you live anywhere near a city, you're going to have like really, really strong signals and be able to probably stream high definition video right on your phone in many cases. So this is not about creating a faster download for Netflix. It's about creating these machines that can speak to each other and algorithmically decide, well, what is it they're going to decide, right? And I think that's part of the issue here is once you start looking into this and thinking about, fiction like Skynet, right? Thinking about fiction like The Matrix and how the full spectrum control actually becomes the machines because they're so in tune with each other in a communication aspect that, of course, if they become hostile in some way with the singularity and the rest of this stuff, the terror of the future, AI and all this as it continues to build and improve and become more seamless with each other, what kind of decisions will it make? And what level of a chance would humans stand to really fight it off or stand up to it? I think that's the biggest part here is once you build that network wins, and there's no way around it. Like you could disable nodes here or there, and it's fast enough and smart enough at that point to bypass those those limitations. So, yeah. Anyway, we'll see. Hopefully, we're not going to get to the point where the Internet of Things is sending Reaper drones to people's doorsteps or whatever. But I digress. Here we go. So let's go to this article. Now, this is what got me thinking about this today, and I thought this was interesting because it's not just the Internet of Things, and that's the thing everybody hears about: IoT, the IoT device. Like I said, a smart toaster, a smart refrigerator, things like this that are paying attention to what's going on in the household, so they can assist you make decisions, assist you order things or whatever, right? Something like this. Smart ovens, it's all there. But okay, here we go. There's more. This is from, again, Scientific American. Headline is this. Yeah, how could this go wrong, right? Flexible microprocessor could enable an Internet of everything. Yeah, that's right. An Internet of everything. Yeah, right. So now this is the next step. We talk about the Internet of Things, like I said, IoT devices. This right here is your very next step, which means what? What do you think this means? What exactly do you think this means? The Internet of everything. Yeah, well, let me explain. They have these flexible microprocessors that are very, very small. And they're saying that basically they're tracking chips. And they're talking about using them on not just smart devices like IoT devices like we've been discussing, like your smart fridge or whatever. Instead, they're putting them on inanimate objects. Well, like maybe a box of cereal. You see what's happening? Maybe a gallon of milk. And the reason why they would do that is if you put these devices, these flexible microprocessors on, say, a gallon of milk, it could determine in real time the expiration date of that milk. All right? Because it knows the handling procedure, because it's tracking all that data, it's keeping in tune with right how long it's spent out of the cooler, something like this, how long in transit, all the things, right? So it's literally collecting data constantly, and then it's updating expiration dates on this gallon of milk. All right, same thing with a box of cereal or anything else, right? We're talking about putting these tracking flexible microprocessors on inanimate objects to do what? To do what? What do you think it is? What do you think the advantage here is? Well, of course, the advantage is they can track supply chains. They can track when things need to be ordered specifically, right? They can track, like I said, expiration dates. And this is fine, right? There's no problem here. So not only are your smart devices always listening, you got all the 5G stuff spinning out of control. We got Wi-Fi everywhere. Who knows what's going on with that? We probably won't know for another 100 years. Very much like they used to say, oh yeah, smoking's fine for you, right? You have a headache? Have a cigarette. It'll fix it right up. Well, 100 years later, see how that worked out. And this is the type of stuff we're dealing with, right? And if we don't ask these questions ourselves and sort of look into this stuff ourselves, well, this is the issue, right? This is the problems we have. And so this is what got me thinking. So not only do we have, like I said, the Internet of Things, we have the Internet of everything. And what that means is now not just smart devices, but inanimate objects to track supply chains and to stay ahead of the curve. More data is good data, except, of course, for us, me and you, because we can't access that data, can we? As much data is flowing on platforms like Facebook and everywhere else, I don't need to name them, you know who they are, but as much data is flowing, it is interesting that private people like us, private citizens, just regular old people, do not have access to those databases. And so in many cases, we don't even know what data is tracked on ourselves. That's cool, right? That seems super cool. Yeah, I don't think so. I think there's a big problem here, and we'll get into this article in a little bit. Again, flexible microprocessor could enable an Internet of everything. And if an Internet of Things wasn't terrifying you enough with all the 5G integration and your toaster eyeballing you in the morning to make sure you grab your toast on time, well, check this out. Now it's going to be your loaf of bread. Yeah, that's right. Because they want to make sure it's got an accurate expiration date for your maximum convenience. Yes, the world we live in. Everything is based on security and convenience, is it not? And here we are, unfortunately, in that world, trying to really consider if indeed we need that level of access, that level of security, and that level of constant accommodation. You tell me. As I said, is this what's known as, well, I'm going to call it this, maybe we'll make t-shirts, is this the tech checkmate? Is this the point where everything is now watching you? You don't even need cameras anymore. You've got digital sensors on your groceries. Oh boy. What do you guys think about this? I'm hoping you're having a good time. I am. We're going to talk about this and how there may be larger implications, not just the obvious. What's really going on here? If you want to be part of the show tonight, this is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. Don't go anywhere. More after the break. All right, welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and we are streaming on Rockfin, YouTube, DLive, and Periscope. That sounds good, doesn't it? And we are broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. We're taking your phone calls tonight. If you want to be part of the show, 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. And we are talking about a technological checkmate. And the bizarre part is, like I said, we've definitely run into a part of the world, time-wise, where privacy is a thing of the past. Like Robert said in the chat on the break there, that you will own nothing and you will be happy about it. And this is the Great Reset, is it not? This is interesting how we have this COVID stuff going on, and there's variant XYZ, and right, there's more variants than you can shake a stick at now, which was again predicted by who? Right? Who predicted these things? Who was talking about this stuff in January of 2020? That's right, we were. We knew. You know why? Because all it takes is a little common sense and a little bit of looking at history to really derive what's happening here. It's easy. We knew clearly every single year there's a flu season, did we not? Every year. So every year there's a new flu vaccine, the shot, as it were, and they take this flu vaccine, and guess what? It's only like partially effective. In some cases, it's only like 40% effective. And this is year after year after year after year. The common flu hasn't gone away, has it? No, of course not. So if we couldn't defeat that, what makes you think we could defeat this? What makes you think any amount of anything would stop variant XYZ and beyond? Of course not. I completely digress here. The point being is that all you have to do is pay attention to what's going on around you and think about the things we already know about the past. And it's sometimes it's a little easier, right? Sometimes it's not so easy because you don't know what kind of dirty stuff what dirty games they're playing behind the scenes. But right, I mean, that was an easy one. Like oh, no kidding, 2 weeks to flatten the curve, right? No, no, right? That was easy. Like, come on, into the 3rd and the 4th and the 6th and the 10th and the 12th week, and now we're a year and a half later. And I think they just said today that what's her name? Kate Brown in Oregon has now mandated masks outside in the entire state. What the hell is going on? Anyway, I digress. This show isn't about COVID at all. It's about seeing the future. It's about paying attention to our present, knowing the past, so you can accurately get a gauge of where they're headed, where we are headed. And it's the way it is. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know what's going on with this. It's unfortunate, but here we are trying to figure out the world we live in. So anyway, back to this Internet of Things. Like I said, not just the Internet of Things. It's more dire than that now. It's more robust. It's, like I said, a technological checkmate of sorts, meaning that there goes your privacy. Gone. Completely gone. Like I said, you think it's bad enough that your refrigerator, your toaster, your smart thermostat, all these things are keeping track of all the things you do all the time. But then what about your box of cereal? Knowing that you picked it up twice this week, right? You jostled it a little bit too roughly as you poured the cornflakes into the bowl. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the type of thing they will be tracking. You know why? because, of course, like I said, for supply chain ease, for being able to say, okay, we know we have 77 boxes of cornflakes in this truck and 88 in that truck, and we just lost another 200 because that truck rolled over, whatever, right? They can track these things and know in real time what's happening based on, yep, that's right, these new items called flexible microprocessors. And so, of course, let's read just a little bit about this. And like I said, if you guys have comments on this, does it freak you out that maybe one day very soon your box of cornflakes may be watching you? And maybe not with an eye, like the eye of Sauron of sorts, but with data, with knowing what direction it's facing, how often you actually eat cereal, things like this. Did you throw the box of cereal away before you finished it? Things like this. What's up, John? I see your message on Facebook. Or sorry, not on Facebook, on YouTube. Yeah, he asked if I could see it. I can see it. But okay. So now this is what I'm saying. How does that make you feel? If this is going to happen in the near future, and this is how it's going to happen. Here we go. Researchers have developed a microprocessor built on a high-performance plastic rather than silicon. And they say it could enable smarter food labels and supply chain management. Sweet, right? The convenience. I love the convenience. I tell you what, if you could bathe me in security and convenience, I would line up for that bath. I tell you what, sounds so warm. I love it. No, I'm just kidding. Don't give me that. Really? Security and convenience. So we're literally giving up our privacy and our rights for security and convenience. Is that a fair trade, do you think? You think long term that's a fair trade? Because is anybody really being kept safe right now? I mean, really? Is anybody really being kept safe? Just saying. All right, here we go. So here's some comments from some experts considering this article from Scientific American today. Happened today. Flexible microprocessor could enable the Internet of Everything. Christopher Intagliata says this. Microchips are everywhere. They're in our computers and smartphones, of course, but also TVs, thermostat, fridges, washing machines, cars. That ever-growing constellation of devices embedded with computer brains and internet connectivity is known as the Internet of Things, which we just said, we talked about. We'll get into the description of that and what it actually means, but there's more. He continues. Lots of other stuff, though, like a carton of milk, doesn't have a microchip or smart sensor. Not to say that it couldn't. All right, right? Well, is everybody excited about your milk tracking you? Here we go. John Biggs continues in this article. For example, imagine smart labels on food products that could alter their use by date, depending on how they've been handled. Right? Like I said, does that mean it's going to know if you threw it away before you finished every crumb in there? And they're going to start marking it down on your permanent record? I'm just asking for a friend. Not that I would ever do that. That's just wasteful and irresponsible. But what if you do it by accident and you didn't notice there's a few crumbs left in the bottom of the box? You think that goes down on your permanent record? Maybe. Maybe. It continues. The initial guy, this is his name is Christopher. He says this. I'm going to use Christopher because his last name is really hard to pronounce. Says John Biggs is a distinguished engineer at the semiconductor company ARM, A-R-M. He and a team of researchers have now developed a proof-of-concept flexible chip that could be used for applications like outfitting a milk jug with computer smarts. And they say the chip is 12 times more complex than previous attempts. They describe it in a recent issue of the journal Nature, which, of course, a natively flexible 32-bit ARM microprocessor. Now, explain to me this. Do you really think your gallon of milk, or your half gallon, do you think your milk container needs a microchip on it? And so the more I was reading this, I was fascinated. Like, what in the world is this? Like, seriously? We are just full on 100% tracking everything. Think about it. So if they put these tiny, and these things are tiny. These things are tiny, and that's why they're discussing them in these terms, because they're cheap. All right, because you wouldn't put expensive things on a milk carton; it'd have to be disposable, right? Well, I mean, wink, wink. We recycle everything, though, don't we? Recycling, but no, of course, no, we don't. We just send the dirty crap to China. That's how we recycle, and then they incinerate it over there. There's a recycling scam right there. But yeah, I mean, it's just horrific how these things. This is the world we live in. Okay, so anyway, like I said. Your milk carton tracking you. All right, so this continues. They claim the microprocessor is cheap to build, and it consists of a thin film transistor on a substrate of flexible, high-performance plastic rather than rigid silicon. And, of course, this is what's paving the way for not the Internet of Things, but now it's being dubbed the Internet of Everything. Have you heard this term? Is this just new to me? Oddly enough, I looked it up and was digging into this just a little bit tonight because I have to know a little bit of what I'm talking about in most cases. And, and of course, you know what's really happening here? This isn't new at all. I was finding information on the Internet of Everything back in 2016. Articles dated in 2016. Yeah, exactly, right? So that's what I'm thinking about tonight. That's what I'm talking about. There is the Internet of Things and those devices, the IoT devices. And then, on top of that, there's the Internet of Everything devices. Are you really ready for your gallon of milk to be spying on you? And you say, oh, come on, Mike, it's not a camera. It's not going to know that I'm not wearing my underwear today or whatever. It's not going to know those things. Maybe not. But what happens when they start tracking your underwear? What if they put in that little Fruit of the Loom tag in your underwear? Then what? Well, will they be able to know as you walk down the street, just for example, that you're not wearing your underwear today? Or how about this? What if your underwear are a little dirty? Will they know that? This is what I'm saying. And I know I'm being ridiculous with some of these examples, but it's to prove a point. It's about accessibility. It's about comfort and convenience. But how much is actually going to help us? Do you really think your milk carton or your underwear spying on you is going to make your life better, more secure, more comfortable somehow? Who does it help? Very much like I said when we started. Look at Facebook's massive database. They track everything. They're into everything. They know everything. It's a digital oracle of sorts. And they do it intentionally because they want to read our mind. Not only do they want to read your mind, they want to suggest and brainwash ideas into your brain. And that's part of the problem here. So given more data points, if you imagine this, if you had all of the data points ever, just every single data point was mapped on Earth, every single thing, every grain of sand, everywhere it had been, and you put that into some giant, massive supercomputer, it knew everything about everything. Is that or is that not godlike? Who else would know all the things about all the things? And this is what really got my mind going on this tonight, because it is not just a technological checkmate, in my opinion. It got me thinking about who really is in charge of this mess. What is really going on? I've heard of ritual Illuminati things that, Ryan Gable has famously talked about the Super Bowl rituals happening every year. If you guys don't know, Ryan Gable is from The Secret Teachings, does fantastic stuff. He's 11 p.m. Pacific on Fringe. Listen to him. Smart dude. He's all over this stuff. Is this what's going on? Is there I'm going to say it. Is there a mark of the beast aspect to this Internet of Everything? Like I said, if you took a database so large that it knew everything about everything, not just you, your smart devices, but also inanimate objects, put it into a supercomputer, is that supercomputer not akin to God? Right? At least in its omniscience of everything here on Earth. Weird, right? You start to bump up against things that become extremely uncomfortable. And what that means is, just like Robert said in the Rockfin chat, you will own nothing, and you will be happy about it. This is the Great Reset. It's coming. And it's, again, disguised as security. It's disguised as convenience. And of course, well, we're going to just gobble it down, hook, line, and sinker, aren't we? Yeah. Yeah. What's up? What's going on? How is everybody? Looking at the chat. All right. If you guys have comments on this, we're going to get into this in a little bit more deeply. It's not just about the basically Internet of Things and the Internet of Everything. It's about the larger implications of this. Meaning that, like I said, if you start to become so ubiquitous with the information you have regarding every single thing out there, is it not becoming creepy? Meaning demigod-like, let's say. I don't want to say godlike and be, blasphemous, but you get what I mean. This becomes larger and more terrifying than just a carton of milk staring at you as you open the refrigerator, as you open your smart refrigerator. So if you have comments on this, I'm going to get into some more of the more terrifying, larger aspects as we go, including who's running this joint. And I looked into the archons a little bit, if you know what I'm talking about. So if you're tired of talking about refrigerators and cans of milk or whatever, well, we're going to get to some really weird stuff coming up. And if you have, like I suggested, these technological databases that are so large and ubiquitous that it becomes dangerous, what do we do? Do we have a recourse? Anyway, if you got comments on this so far, have you heard of this Internet of Everything? If you want to be part of the show tonight, 702-957-1037. We take all phone calls, and we don't screen calls because we have a very kind audience. One more time, 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org, and you could join the Discord and be part of the show that way. And we're here just kind of talking about these things, these new things, right? These newfangled things that are supposed to be, that are supposed to be whatever they're supposed to be. And dare I say it, what happens when there's a tracking chip on everything? Inanimate objects, us, smart devices, and everything else. Yeah. What's up? Richard says, Mr. Ike is a great guy on the Archons. Well, that's the question, though. What's up? So Treeland T says, supercomputer is named the Beast. Right? You see what I'm getting at here? It starts to become where technology is no longer just technology in and of itself. It starts to become something larger, something maybe conscious, maybe something spiritual. Maybe all of this data packed into one database, maybe known as the Beast. I like that, Treeland. We're going to call it that tonight, the Beast. The supercomputer that carries all the data. Do you think there's something more to this? Do you think there's something spiritual to this? Do you think maybe instead of just being satisfied tracking where you go and what you do, they want to track when you pray? They want to track when you're in distress. They want to track. You see what I'm saying here? There's some weirdness to this. Like I said, I'd love to hear from you guys tonight. As always, I can tell you my takes on this, and typically my takes are pretty boring. When this really gets hot is when you guys call and you start thinking about this. You start putting this in terms of your human experience, your knowledge base, and you start kicking back some ideas that usually blow people's minds. So if you're out there and you hear me right now, I'm talking to you. It's Tuesday night. It is August 24th, and it's a little bit before 8 p.m. Pacific, and we're talking about the Internet of Everything. And do you think it is? Do you think it becomes, once the information becomes so ubiquitous that you end up in a situation where data is no longer just tracking people, it's now tracking your own soul. It's tracking your spirituality. And like I said, in some cases, it starts to make me wonder who's in charge. Has anybody ever heard of the Archons? Right? That's what I'm talking about here. That's exactly what I'm talking about here. And is this a part of a larger plan? Of the Great Reset? Of all the rest of this stuff? I have no idea. What's up? Robert says, the only reason they'll put chips in your underwear is because the underwear will be rented, and your overlords will need to locate them immediately to take them back if you fall behind on the rent. I love it. And that's what I'm talking about here. You will own nothing, and you will be satisfied. You will be happy. What's up? Bill says, D-Wave quantum computer is a black cube, Saturn worship. And that's what I'm saying here, right? And then Treeland, the supercomputer is named the Beast. Is that where we're at? Is this Saturn worship of sorts? Like I said, it's not my expertise. As you guys know about me, I'm not a particularly religious guy. But I am a defender of people that want to be religious, because the crackdown is on that faith. The crackdown is on faith itself. And to me, like I said, I strongly believe, right, wrong, or indifferent, we have the ability. We have the actual fundamental right to be wrong if we so desire. As part of our state of being as human beings, I think so. I think we have that right, and that's what this is about. So anyway, that's what I'm talking about tonight, this Internet of Everything. And if you guys have heard of this or have not, let me know. How does it make you feel if there's actually a microchip on your milk carton tracking everything you do? Like, it's not, I mean, literally, how much is too much? Like I said, the chip on your underwear, right? Like, that's ridiculous. But think about it. Think about it. Think about this. As something simple as a chip on your shoe. Then what? Then what? You start to see. There are you can't even ditch your smartphone at that point. You're like, I'm going to go off grid. You leave your phone at home? Nope. You've got chips in your underwear and chips in your shoes, tracking where you're going. Yeah, this is crazy. What's up, Jack says, Archons, thought adjusters. And that's what I'm thinking of tonight. So we'll get into the Archons as part of this, and I'm not sure. Like, this is one of those things where it really, really creeps me out, because once you start getting to the core of what's happening with this, it becomes not as simple as just the just tracking. It's not just tracking anymore. Again, like I said, the reason they do it is to read our minds and suggest things. The power of suggestion. That's the two things they want the most. But then after that, what happens when they have all of that? When they've locked it down and they do have that technological checkmate, as I've said, then what happens? Do you think there's a larger spiritual connection at play here? Do you think that maybe it is Operation Warp Speed logo equals the black cube, like Bill says in the chat? Do you really think that's what's going on here? Saturn worship. Do you think the Archons are involved? I don't know. I start to think in terms like this, and like I said, it definitely creeps me out. Yeah, Dark Devious has it right. The smart shoe. And this is what I'm saying, right? So once they start putting these tiny chips on everything, on inanimate objects, and they're so cheap and it's disposable, they could just litter them on everything, right? Like, people have talked about smart dust in the past and things like this, and I was like, yeah, do we have that technology yet? I'm not so sure. But right now they're saying in this article that we were looking at that maybe they don't have that, but they have this other thing that's cheap, can be made easily and attached on anything. Yeah. Tracking devices. Your smart shoe. Your smart underwear. Your smart carton of milk. Yeah, this is, like I said, it gets terrifying. That's what's on my mind tonight. Like I said, love to hear what you guys think about this as we go. And thank you, Robert, for the tip on Rockfin. I appreciate that very much. You don't have to empty the bank account. Robert has been very enthusiastic about tipping and being excited and getting us on Rockfin. So thank you so much. I appreciate it. Please don't feel obligated all the time. He's been excited. He's been excited about the Rockfin experience, and so am I. So I appreciate that a lot. I just want to say, please don't feel obligated. Okay, let's keep rolling. Now, this is the thing. This is what I'm talking about. How much of this do you think really stops being more of a physical thing, a physical tracer, and starts becoming a spiritual tracer, a way to track our soul and our spirituality? And that's really what's on my mind tonight. It took us a little while to get there, but I think it's important to kind of go through exactly what all this stuff is and what it means. And are there larger implications with, the mark of the beast, with things like the Archons, with a Saturn worship, like Bill said in the chat? I don't know. I think this stuff it kind of creeps me out. The more you think of it, the more you start to consider it. And what happens? What happens when you do already achieve full spectrum control of everything physical in this world? What is next? You tell me. I think if you achieve everything physical you ever wanted, the next step is controlling the spirit. And like I said, I don't know what to think about this. As I read it, as I get into it, as I was looking into this tonight, I was agitated. Anyway, what do you think? This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange, and we're talking about the Internet of Things has now become the Internet of Everything. And they're going to put trackers on your milk cartons, your cereal boxes, possibly your shoes, and your underwear. How do you feel about that? 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. Don't go anywhere. More after the break. We are talking about the alien abduction phenomenon.
The aliens are looking through your eyes and they're accessing your optic nerve. I'm and through that optic nerve, they're transferring to your brain. Random images as they traverse neurons in the brain.
So all right. So maybe,
and they also feel them clenching.
Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest into the digital darkness.
Yo ho, yo ho. Welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and hello to all of you who may also have troubled minds. This show is live. We do it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific, and we do that to take your phone calls. If you want to be part of the show tonight, the number to call is 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. You can also reach us by clicking the Discord link at troubledminds.org. That's the official website, and we'll put you on the show. Just jump in the caller queue, and we're watching the Discord, watching the phone lines, and all of that, as, of course, we talk about all the things we're not allowed to talk about, which is becoming less of an issue now that we've dumped Facebook. Yeah, we're on Rockfin instead, and we are streaming on Rockfin, YouTube, DLive, and Periscope, and we're broadcasting live on the Fringe FM, talking about, yeah, that's right, aliens, conspiracy, the paranormal, the government, academia, the 24-hour news cycle, propaganda, and the general feeling that we live in the upside down. All right, here we go. We've got a phone call. So, like I said, we're taking your calls tonight, and we're discussing this. This right here. Not the Internet of Things, the Internet of Everything. A flexible microprocessor could enable this Internet of Everything, meaning they have disposable chips they could put on cartons of milk, tennis shoes, or even your underwear. Yep, that's right. And of course, like we say, tracking smart devices is one thing, tracking your smartphone's another thing, and well, what happens when they start tracking your shoes or your milk carton and things like this? Is it somebody going to get speeding tickets for not recycling sort of situation? If your milk carton ends up in the wrong bin type of thing? I have no idea. But anyway, just some ideas out there. What happens if they track your underwear? Right? Like I was saying earlier. Seems ridiculous, but if they can put it on a carton of milk, surely they could put it in your Fruit of the Loom tag, right? Yeah, anyway, let's go to Dark Devious. What's up, my friend? Dark Devious from Discord. How are you tonight? Welcome to the show.
Hey, Mike Strange. How's everything?
I'm good, man. I'm good. What's on your mind tonight, my man?
We are definitely living in scary but exciting times, ain't we?
Seems like. Seems like.
Back in 2018, me and the wife, we went to Disney World in Florida, and we had ordered these the sodas, right? Like it was like a large cup, and the guy had told us like, hey, you could just take it. You could take it anywhere. There's like a refill station, and it tells you how many refills you have. So this technology is kind of like been slowly like being introduced, but now it's like they're becoming more aggressive with it now, and what's happening is it's kind of like they're it's like you're saying, like they're completely tracking everything. But let's just take it a little further, right? Can you imagine if you was to go visit your doctor, and then your doctor says, "Hey, your sugar level is a little high, and I'm gonna have to report it to. I don't know what the system will end up being at the end, but we're gonna have to report it to the system that your sugar level is a little high, and we're gonna have to sanction you, right? Like, so now when you go to in the near future, now you go to the store, and now it knows how much sugar intake you're allowed to have, or something like that. Can you imagine something like that?
Yeah, where if you bring up too many cookies to the cash register as a diabetic, like an alarm goes off, like you're shoplifting.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what's coming. And people need to understand that their privacy it's done. This is complete. It's like you said, checkmate. Once this whole thing goes through and everything comes together, right? Because like you said, there's the internet of everything, but then it's also the internet of value, which is the banking system and everything else. All of this is going to come back. All of it's going to come back together, but it's going to end up coming back together into blockchains, and we are going to be micromanaged at the end of everything. And this whole thing with the jab and everything else, that's just how can I put it? Those are like the other pieces of the puzzles, because at the end, you as an individual is going to be an item and placed on a blockchain, is what I believe is what's going to end up happening here in the future. And then these things are exciting but scary. And our politicians, what they're doing, they're starting to lay that foundation down for these things coming into the future. Like they're trying to pass bills so that the car could track your face, like it'll know if you had any alcohol, if you're sleeping behind the wheel, if you're angry, and it'll end up reporting. I'm assuming it's all going to go into a social credit. So
exactly. So
these are things that's coming down.
There you go. And there is the technological checkmate, and you said it. It's a social credit score is what this ends up being. Just like I said, are you doing all the right things just like China? So even if we don't implement it like China is right now, it does not matter, because you put all the parameters into place, and the more robust that system becomes, all you have to do is click the switch when that social credit is passed by Congress, because everything will already be ready to go. They're laying it out now. It's coming. That's creepy. So you said in Disney World, they had a chip on your cup that tracked how many refills you got and tracked where you took that cup?
I looked under the cup and everything. I couldn't. I'm assuming it was like within the plastic, but yeah, it was. The machine knew how many refills I had left and everything. So these things have been kind of like slowly being presented to us.
Wow.
And I think the wife said they even had it had like a timer on it. Yeah. So kind of the machine knew how much you consumed. So you had to wait a little bit before you could go back and get another refill. But but these things are, they're becoming more aggressive with it. And a lot of it's going to end up coming back to crypto. Crypto is going to be a major part of it too.
Yeah, so I know you're into crypto big time. So explain this. Now there's some, and again, we're not experts here. We're not financial advisors. We're not doctors. None of this. All right, we're just knuckleheads on the internet with microphones. But check this out. I'm gonna ask you this: with NFTs becoming a thing, right? Where they're like digital art of sorts, right? You mint an NFT, and people are buying it and they're bidding these things up, and it's becoming out of control. It's almost like modern art but digital style. With that said, if they put people themselves on the blockchain based on all of this data, how the hell does that work? Do you have any idea what this may look like in the future?
Oh man, I know there's a company called Meta Hero, and they're allowing people to be able to like completely scan themselves, and it's almost a form of as if they're becoming an NFT, right? So a celebrity could actually scan himself, and then he could basically give you a shout out, like a happy birthday. But all of this is going to end up like augmented reality. So you'll have like special glasses you'll put on. So it'll kind of be like a VR kind of a thing, and you'll be able to see. It's going to be mind blowing, like this whole NFT thing, and a lot of it's going to be tied in with augmented reality and stuff like that. But the mostly like the NFT stuff, it's like let's say like a artist, like they create something, and then they could actually put like a actual like a limited edition number on it. And then you as the buyer, you're basically kind of purchasing it. But there's different ways to be able to kind of like offer an NFT too. So like what's his name? This one, I think he's, I don't know if he's an R&B singer or something like that, but he just sold like 100 NFT like music of his music, right? So, but those people that bought it, they bought his music for $1, but now they're going to be able to sell it for more. So it's kind of like giving you the rights to the product or to the art in a way, but it's going to be, I mean, the future is going to be kind of amazing, but it's going to be kind of scary too, because you're going to be giving up a lot of your rights.
Yeah, exactly. Like we're going to put on these VR goggles, and you're going to see like my avatar is not really me. I'm like some shiny, Pinocchio looking thing, or Pokemon looking thing, and that's my NFT, right? That like they've merged it into my VR identity, and so as a result, right, you put on these VR goggles, and Mike is like a Pikachu, like a glowing orange Pikachu running around, and that's become my NFT. I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I was kind of curious at what you thought. That's how I think it's probably going to end up. And beyond that, I don't even know, man. Scarier than that, are they going to start fusing some of these things to your very being so you can't get rid of it? How does that work? I don't know, man. The scary stuff.
Well, you'll be able to see commercials and everything. Like they can actually push commercials up to you. And it's kind of like it's in your augmented reality, you'll be able to see the commercials in front of you and stuff like that. And then they'll know eventually what kind of commercials to kind of like target you with, because they have all your data.
Exactly.
By the end of everything, they'll have all your data. So you're pretty much on like I said, this is going to be exciting, but it's going to be scary. It's going to be scary.
It's going to be scary. I'm with you.
And all of this is kind of like it's coming, and it's coming aggressively.
And get ready for your social credit score, guys. Get ready. Sorry, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Yeah. I don't think it was meant to be this early, but they took advantage of the situation that the world's in right now.
Exactly. Never let a crisis go to waste, right? That's the political line.
Yeah.
And so they're going to take advantage of this, quote, pandemic and this whole business going on and turn it into your coming dystopian future. Welcome to China, United States style.
Yep.
You were the best, my friend. Anything else while we got you on the phone?
No, that was practically it. I just remembered when you was talking about the flexible chip thingamajiggy, and I was like, man, I remember in 2018 when we went to Florida, how they just knew it was crazy.
That's creepy.
They just knew how many refills we had left, and how much at what time we consumed it, and how much time we had before we could actually get another refill. But
creepy.
Yeah, but it's like they're becoming more aggressive with it. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's going to start happening. I appreciate it, my friend. Dark Devious, find him on all kinds of crypto talk on our Discord if you want to join that, troubledminds.org. He's not a financial advisor. We're just sharing information for the lulz.
No.
Thanks, my brother. Thanks, my brother. Have a great night.
A couple people on there. So.
Yeah. Thank you so much for the call. We'll talk to you soon, my friend.
Take care.
Thanks, man. You too. There you go. Simple as that, guys. If you want to be part of the show, good stuff. He doesn't call in often, but when he does, bang, bang, good stuff. Is this where we're headed? Are they going to put people on the blockchain? Yeah, maybe. Maybe. We're still talking about this stuff. What do you guys think? Is this the mark of the beast? We're talking about this. Flexible microprocessor could enable an internet of everything, meaning they could chip literal inanimate objects, including, and I jest, but maybe I don't, your underwear or your shoes, your carton of milk, your cereal box, things like this. Yes, terrifying. If you want to be part of the show, 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubleminds.org. Let's go to Jennifer in Missouri. Jennifer, welcome to the show. How are you tonight?
Doing good. Just listening in. And
Right
I was
on.
thinking, at the very least, this is just about convenience for those who can pay for it. And then on the higher level, I mean, if you go into like a spiritual aspect of it, it takes on a much more nefarious appearance. Like if you think about it, it looks like if you think about like the ghost of the machine, and that if you think about like voodoo, for example, you have like the puppets, the voodoo dolls, and you interact with them by usually having a little bit of that person with that puppet or whatever, and then you can interact by manipulating it and making an effect that you want with that person's life. This is like an inversion of that. Like if you consider that they're going to put sensors on everything around you or on your person, so that they then can affect you from a distance, you know, in whatever way, or at least to watch you. And then if you go on another level with it, the objects, like the smart objects that you're bringing into your house, it's almost kind of like a haunted object you're taking on purpose. Like when we talk about that kind of paranormal stuff, it's kind of like that. Like you're intentionally bringing something into your home that you know is linked and is like a whisper going through all the vibrations in the web all the way to some center core where they're recording or not recording, observing, you know, and sensing
exactly
your presence and your existence all from that instrument. So it's like having a house full of haunted, listening, perceiving objects where there hopefully is just like a human ear, you know, listening in somewhere. Or if you want to go even more nefariously dark with it, there are different demons depicted in old woodcuts and from different people's accounts that they think they've seen them. Who knows what they were on or however they've done it. But on these ancient woodcuts from like the 1800s, I guess, not going to say 1700s. I'm not sure exactly, but you know, you've seen like a spider legs with like 4 or 5 human heads, like a human head, a frog head, and then they have like these spider legs. And if you think about these types of creatures, and talk about the archons and everything, I don't know what they are. Nobody does, you know. The web, the idea of a web itself, you know, that it feels every little thing. It's so that the spider at the center can sense every movement of wind or, you know, like anything, and it'll respond off of that. Something is at the center of the web, technically, you know, perceiving and sensing everything.
Right, every twitch in the web.
So as far as...
Yeah.
And I think that, you know, if we are linking ourselves to it, it's almost like they can enact their will much more easily upon you. And then we were talking about the whole thing weeks ago, I think. No, like a week ago or something, about that quantum physics had figured out how to measure the soul with quantum physics, and we were talking about that. Do you remember that? Like a while now. It's been like several days ago or like a week ago or something.
Yep.
And now you have these priests of science. And this would kind of tie into that. It's a way to emulate an all-seeing, all-knowing God. It's a way for them to replicate that so they really can have the experience of giving people what appears to be like it knows everything. It hears everything before we even think it knows it, just like God. And so it ties into that in that way. It makes for a wonderful artificial experience of a God. And then if you take into account that it knows what you need before you actually need it, or if it's inside of you in some way, you know, influences that you might not know that you need it, but you decide that you do need it, you know, like with marketing, or, you know, like the voice to mind manipulation, or the fact that, I mean, if you're taking sensors onto yourself or within yourself, you're no longer under control of yourself, almost like people like with the idea of voodoo. You know, so it's really strange. I think it's some type of magic, possibly. But nobody would admit that or say that that's what's going on, even though people would have called this magic, you know, a long time ago. So that's what I kind of think might be going on with it. And you would have to cover all these things. And like I said, people intentionally bring these objects into their homes and onto their bodies, you know, and they wouldn't do it if somebody said, hey, this thing is a haunted object. You know, most people wouldn't take it on.
Right.
Nobody would take on something that's cursed and like is a type of perceiving thing. But they're intentionally taking on things all the time that are listening, that are interacting, and sometimes interfering and creating your world a way it may not have gone to begin with. You know, like I may not have bought that certain type of, you know, barbecue sauce or something else I'd seen the ad for because I was talking about grilling. Like literally has happened.
Right.
But like,
not just
I don't know. They do. They obviously yeah, go ahead. There's a delay because I'm on a phone.
Yeah, sorry about that. It is weird with the talk back and forth because there's a strange delay. But no, you're spot on here, and I think the most important thing you said right now is the ghost in the machine. And there are literal ghosts in these machines. They're technological ghosts, though. The ghost in the machine is connected to that spider web you described. And not only that, we are placing ourselves in it like it's a soft, comfortable hammock. Right? We're like, oh, this is so nice. This is so nice. What's next? What do you think is next with this then?
I think it starts to believe it is alive. I think the ghost begins to experience that it's alive and that it is God. It starts to believe that because it knows everything.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying here. So digitally speaking, it's one thing to say there's a ghost in the machine. But when the machine is so ubiquitous that it does know every data point of everything on the globe, does that not become a god in and of itself? That's terrifying. That's terrifying. Yeah.
I'll let you go.
I love where your mind's at.
Stuff.
Thank you for the call.
Good night.
You too. Thank you very much. That's Jennifer in Missouri. Great stuff as always. What do you guys think about this? Is this where we're headed? Is it that ghost in the machine? Fantastic stuff. This is what I'm saying. This is why we've always done it in a live format, because you get such amazing phone calls. This is the type of stuff we're talking about. If it is a giant machine so ubiquitous in knowledge and thought that it knows everything about you before you know it. It can suggest things to you. You're hungry, you're thirsty, you're tired, you're this, you're that. You want to go read this book or that book. All the suggestion exists because all the data points are stuck in one machine and they're controlling that spider web you've laid comfortably in. You see what's going on here. Fantastic stuff from Jennifer. Always great calls. And that's what we're doing tonight. We're taking your phone calls talking about this. And so not only is it, again, the Internet of Things is one thing, all right? The Internet of Things. Now this is the Internet of everything. And we're talking about putting smart devices on inanimate objects. So it's not just your smart refrigerator that's plugged in and needs an internet connection. No, 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 no. They're able to use these small sensors and place them on your milk carton, your cereal box, your tennis shoes, and I jest, but I'm probably not even kidding, eventually in the tag in your underwear. So that means they know every detail about you. And this is what I mean. This becomes frightening. This becomes not technology. This becomes a spiritual takeover of all humanity. And that's what's got my mind a little bit buzzing tonight, considering all this weird stuff. If you guys want to be part of the show, we're talking about all this weirdness. Clearly, this is going to lead to a social credit score at the very least. That's going to be your digital checkmate. But what about your spiritual checkmate? When does that arrive? And are we ahead of schedule? That's what's on my mind tonight as we consider these things and talk about these things and wonder what in the world is really going on. I don't know. As you know, I'm not the answers guy. I'm the questions guy. And this is a show where we get together and talk about these things. Fantastic call so far. Thank you, Dark Devious. Thank you, Jennifer. Amazing stuff. We're looking to hear from you. If you want to be part of the show tonight, we're taking your calls. 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. And we're talking about, yeah, that's right, not the Internet of Things, the Internet of everything. Imagine when your dog's leash has a tracking device on it, and it's built in to the manufacturing. Like just think of every inanimate object you come in contact with in your life. Imagine every single thing is being tracked. Horrifying thoughts. Is there a ghost in that machine, and are there larger implications? One more time, 702-957-1037. I'm not Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. This is Troubled Minds. Don't go anywhere. More after the break. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and we are streaming live on Rockfin, YouTube, Periscope, and DLive. And we are broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. And we're taking your phone calls tonight. We are talking about, yeah, that's right, not the Internet of Things. That's step one. There's a new gangster in town, and the name is the Internet of Everything. The Internet of Everything, not the Internet of Things, the Internet of Everything. Now, here's the crazy part about this. It is not just about smart devices, your toaster, your refrigerator, things that plug in and you could build little microprocessors in. We're talking about chipping inanimate objects and tracking every single thing that's worth tracking. You understand what's going on here? The Internet of Things becomes the Internet of Everything, and there are larger implications all over this, including, of course, setting us up for what I'm calling the technological checkmate, where we have what? We have the social credit score being paved right in front of us. All of this stuff is happening right now. Like Dark Devious called and said just a little while ago, he had a cup in Disney World in 2018, and it was tracking his refills through some sort of a chip, whether it was a surveillance situation and people on cameras. I really doubt that. It had to be algorithmic. He said if you went to refill it too soon, it already knew you had just got a refill and you couldn't, right? Like, this is exactly the thing that's going on. And not only that, imagine once they start putting it on everything, not just your devices, not your iPad and your toaster and your smart thermostat and things like this. No, not actual smart devices, dumb devices. Your shoes, your underwear, every bit of your clothing, right? Because, of course, if it's a tiny tag and it tracks every little thing, right? All they have to do is put it in the tag itself, sew it into the hem in the arm, right? Whatever. You could hide these things. And, of course, they're cheap and they're disposable. And, well, data is power. And that's what we're talking about tonight. And this is weird, right? So it becomes this larger thing. And like I was describing, and like Jennifer said when she called, once you get literally the maximum amount of data from the world over that humans interact with, what happens? You put all that into this massive machine, like Bill said earlier. I can't remember who said it earlier. Somebody said, and the name of this machine is the Beast. I think Tree Lynn said it in the chat there. This machine is named the Beast. All right. Now, now much has been said about the vaccine and right all these other things about the chip they're going to inject into us, and I'm not saying it's the same thing. I'm saying they're two different things. I don't think there's a chip in the vaccine. Okay, just to be clear, I want everybody to be clear on what I'm saying here. Two different things, and they've described both of these things as possibly the mark of the beast. However, what if the mark of the beast itself and the last bastion of your own spirituality is not anything they put inside your body? It's where they sprinkle all of these Internet of Everything devices in your clothing, right? In your car tires. Literally, think of every single thing that you interact on a daily basis. In your wallet, in your purse, right? On your keys. What's going on with this? Not only, again, think of it. Not only do they know exactly where you're at, what you're consuming, how much of it, when, are you a late night snacker, things like this, right? Literally on and on and on. And they'll know if you're sick before you know you're sick because your habits change. And you may not notice, but you know what notices instantly? That's right. The algorithmic monster. That thing. Whatever that beast is, that thing notices immediately. Like I was describing on the commercial break here, there was an incident not too long ago with Target. They track everything through the red card, right? You guys know this? If you don't know this, it's a thing. And not just them. So here's what happened. A 16-year-old female became pregnant. Okay? She didn't know it. Her parents didn't know it. But her purchasing habits changed because she started to feel different. She started to need other things. All right? And so what happens? The algorithm from Target predicted that she was pregnant based on her shopping patterns. And she didn't even know it yet. And of course, this blew up because Target started mailing coupons for maternity stuff to the 16-year-old. And the parents lost their minds. Well, guess what? 3 weeks later, she's pregnant. Target knew. The algorithms knew. This is what I'm saying. It's not as simple as just simply, well, they can't read our minds. Well, I don't know about that. What happens if they, like I said, they know your every impulse? And maybe those impulses have been suggested. That power of suggestion. That's what we're talking about. The Internet of Things becomes the Internet of everything. And what in the world is going on? All right, let's go to Daryl. Let's see. Did Daryl thank you for being patient with me as I do my rant. Let's go to Daryl in New York. Daryl, testing 1, 2. Can you hear me, my friend? How are you?
Because your habits change.
Hello,
and
hello.
you may not notice. You may not notice.
Daryl, just mute me, please. I'm coming back. I'm gonna mute you for a sec. Just mute the stream, and you're on with me. So hold on. I'm gonna mute you. We're gonna get to you in just a sec. There we go. Are we muted? How we sounding? All right, Daryl, welcome to the show. How are you tonight?
Hey, Mike. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
Hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. Go right ahead. What's on your mind?
Oh, great. Well, great calls. I'm based on like Jennifer and I'm sorry, who called before Jennifer? Those were just in that league of thought. I have a lot on my mind about this. First of all, I think there's so much metal that has been coming down, that we're all infected with lots of metal. There's mercury, there's aluminum. We're being exposed to all kinds of stuff that's in our food. It's not even necessary, I don't think, to blow dust on us. We're already transmitters. They're just waiting for that right moment to insert that technology, whatever that could be. And the ramifications and the possibilities are pretty endless. I'm thinking about on the level of even soul, like your soul. The technology that they're talking about is going to be so groundbreaking. Like every few, 100 years, we have something that's just changes our lives so much. That's going to be like the best thing to invest money in, even, to put your money down on the stock options for something like this, because it's going to change your lives. Supposedly, in the beginning, I would imagine it would be very convenient. And I'm thinking more of the positive aspect, like, let's say they can give you a download of amazing knowledge. You don't have to go to school anymore. They just, you just go down and download, onto your program, whatever you want to learn, and you'll have the knowledge of the world within seconds. Kids won't need to go to school. They're already going to come, with this knowledge package. So it's going to be downloadable. Something that groundbreaking, that it's going to change our lives forever, is coming. And I don't know what it is. It sounds like this could be something like this, that would make the internet look like Etch-a-Sketch,
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And but again, the weird part is we always talk about on this show, the merging of man and machine. And and many times we think of Neuralink, and we think of maybe adding robotic arms to make us more efficient workers, or things like this, right? Like more obvious sort of robotic merging. But then this is a sort of merging that, again, like Jennifer was saying, the ghost in the machine becomes everything around you, and so it's not just simply, well, maybe they can suggest something to you, or maybe they can read your mind and think, know that you're going to do something before you do it, right? Another thing too, like they said, is Facebook knows when people are about to book, or knows when people are depressed, because what they'll do is they'll book a trip to Las Vegas, right? So they're feeling blue, they're feeling down, they need to get away, they need a trip, something, and then so people will spontaneously in a short notice book a trip to Las Vegas. And what happens is Facebook, the algorithm categorized them as depressed, as being a part of the depression crowd, and then of course starts treating them accordingly, right? Crazy. This is the crazy stuff that's really happening out there. It's nuts. And the more ubiquitous these sensors become, the more it happens to not only control your mind through suggestion and all the rest of this, it becomes an encroachment on your spirituality. And that's what I'm talking about here. It starts to get scary,
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah.
Well, it's like they were also like what's her name, Linda Moulton Howe, was talking about like something on that like level of spiritual transplants, and how they want to steal your soul. Like this would be like a soul. Russia would hack your soul. Let's say there's so many ramifications that this could go totally wrong. If you're able to be like spiritually hacked in a collective manner, now you'll have complete control. They'll have complete control over your actions. You can't even commit a crime, because they'll know you're going to commit one. Nobody's going to ever get murdered, or nobody's ever going to rob a bank, because they're going to be there before you get there. They're going to beat you to the punch. I think this technology is existing already in China. I saw something like they know what you're thinking. Like all of your data is on a screen. Like just people walking down the street. I saw it on YouTube, so it must be true. Anyway, it's like they know your name, you know your how much money you owe, you know the data that's available that is easy to get, you know. But the things that are not easy to get, like what are your thoughts and can they meet? I think they can read your mind. Obviously, if they knew she was pregnant, for example, that's scary. And I want to mention some kind of really like crazy stuff that I've had experienced on my own level personally. When I was experiencing like my worst infection of Morgellons, I was getting electrocuted without touching anything. I mean, like, can you imagine you ever get an electrical shock, but you don't, like, you know, you touch something and you get shocked. You know, you're walking on a carpet and you get shocked. Imagine that happens to you constantly without you even touching anything. Like, you have this, like, absolute feeling of electrocution, and it's localized. It was, like, once in my thumb. It was, like, totally electrocuted. I know it sounds crazy, but I experienced it. I'm like, what did I do to deserve that? And I'll tell you something about the smart dust thing, too, that happened to me twice, where, like, literally I had smart dust thrown in my face, and later, like, it happened, like, in public, so this was weird. Anyway, that's another story. But anyway, there's stuff out there that's nano, and it's tiny, and it can read your minds, and I believe that, you know, you better watch out, you know. But on the other hand, I think we collectively fight it, because there's a lot of power in a collective consciousness. So before they try to control it, we might have a little more power than we think we do, you know?
Well, exactly. I think that's part of it is if we don't know what's happening to us, it is that technological checkmate I was discussing. But if we know and we're aware of what these things are actually rolling out as part of the social credit future of our lives and our spirituality and our souls and everything else, then we can stop this. So we can put a stop to these things. Again, that's what this show is really about. It's about being informed in the things that go on around you that nobody talks about. Because guess what? If they talked about this stuff all the time on the evening news, people would be outraged. People would be disgusted. People would be calling senators like crazy. And you know what? Things would change. They would stop this from happening. But it's not. There's a reason why they don't broadcast this on Sean Hannity and Don Lemon, because they don't want us talking about it. They don't want us thinking about it. It's crazy, right?
It's great food for thought, you know. And I think we got to watch out, because as soon as they could start, you know, how will we even know if they're going to be controlling our minds? Is there a point where we're not even going to know if it's our own freedom of choice? You know, are we going to lose our free will? How powerful is this technology? That's what scares me, you know?
Exactly. And so I used to think, here's the weird part about this. Bridget in chat says, leave your phones at home. If you don't need them, use cash, don't use store cards, etc. True. All that is true. But here's what I used to think until today, where I saw these inanimate objects being tagged as a possible future. I used to think that the digital dollar was our actual checkmate, our social credit checkmate. But think of it. That's not even the end game. I thought that was the end game. But it gets deeper than that. If you're tagging people's clothes, people's wallets, watches, literally everything. If you're tagging everything with these trackers, the digital dollar is nothing. Nothing. You don't even have to spend money, and they're tracking the hell out of you. What's going on? This is nuts.
It's terrible, but it's total loss of freedom. It's really, you know, you're not going to be able to do anything. Like, look how they're trying to remove our freedom by not, you know, getting their mandated, their mandated poison jab. You know, that's a loss of freedom. What happens when, you know, morally they don't, you know, your social credit is morally unbalanced, you know, and suddenly you have to commit 20 good deeds before they let you withdraw any money. You know, you can't get your hands on your own money because you've had a bad thought or you've been sinning or whatever they decide is morally, you know, incorrect. Who's going to decide that? You know, who's going to decide what's right and wrong anymore? God only knows. They're their ethics and morals are totally out the window at this point. I don't know.
Twisted, and that's why I'm suspicious of academics, right? They twist themselves in knots to have these moral codes that you have to be sick to even agree to. It's like, what? Really? This is morality now from academics programming algorithms. Yeah, I'm with you, Daryl. No thanks. I reject it.
What else are they? They're going to mandate, you're going to get diagnosed. They're going to know what you're sick with. And then what are they going to do? Diagnose you and treat you with whatever poison that they decide? These should be elective things. Are they going to say, well, okay, you're going in for chemo. You can't even, do you have a choice on what your treatment is when they diagnose your illnesses before you even know it? Are you going to decide who's going to keep their children if they're pregnant? They're going to know, they're just going to decide morally that girl doesn't deserve to have a baby. She's 16. Who's going to do that check and balance? Who's going to be in charge of that? What data collector is going to be, working that button? Some graduate from MIT that's on Facebook or Twitter. Some
24-year-old. No offense, there's some brilliant 24-year-olds out there, but there's also a lot that have no idea what life's really about yet. So that's the terrifying thing, right? Once you start putting those decisions in the hands of people that are not really even as diverse as they claim they really are, we have problems. You're right, Daryl. This becomes a scary thing. 100%.
Big time.
Yeah.
Big time, but it's great food for thought. Great subject.
Right on. I appreciate it. Anything else while we got you on? We got about 5 minutes left before we finish up. But okay, thank you so much for the call. As always, great stuff. Daryl from New York. We'll talk to you soon, okay?
Okay, you got it. Good night.
Thanks a lot. Good night. Appreciate the call. Simple as that. You guys want to be part of the show? Jump into the Discord at troubledminds.org. Click the Discord link, and we have a few minutes left if you have comments on this. What's going on? Is this a spiritual encroachment? Is this what's happening with these Internet of Everything devices, where they're not just tracking your devices, your smart devices, they're tracking your inanimate objects? Like I said, which means everything is in play. Meaning they're saying, well, it's going to help with supply chains. We're going to be able to put these devices on gallons of milk and be able to tell you, within the hour when that milk goes bad, because we've tracked every single thing about the milk, right? Temperature changes, how long it took in transit, all these other things, right? And of course, as always, they're going to hide this behind the convenience. Right? It's a convenience factor for you. Imagine how much money you'll save by not throwing out your milk 12 hours sooner. Things like this, right? I'm telling you, something weird is up. This is not good. We continue down this road, and I think it's the devil's road. And I'm not even a religious guy. I'm going to use that in a very non-specific term. But what's going on here? What is going on here? Once again, we have got a few minutes for you if you want to be part of the show. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord, and we're going to keep on trucking. Check this out. So I was looking into this, and not just this in particular, right? We've got the Internet of Everything here. I got some articles we'll talk about as we get into the third hour. But so I was thinking about, so if it's not, people have said a microchip or a barcode on your neck or, right, things like this could be the mark of the beast, right? And again, I'm not a biblical scholar. I read the Bible a long time ago when I was like 20 years old, and I don't remember a damn thing from it, all right? So forgive me. But I do know that there are some particular things regarding this mark of the beast. And as somebody said a little while ago in the chat that this new technology probably is not the mark of the beast because it has to be a voluntary thing. Well, here we go. So I got this thing that kind of outlines what this is. And it just got me thinking, right? So not just, like I said, not just technologically, not just considering that it will basically be able to predict our thoughts and suggest our next action to us, things like this, as this digital beast, whatever it is. Then, like I said, I got thinking, is this like an encroachment on our spirit, on our soul itself? Is this what this is leading to? And so I got thinking, like I said, I don't know. I had to brush up a little bit on the mark of the beast, but here you go. It says, this is from markofbeast.com, or markbeast.com. And yeah, here we go. So it says, what will happen to you if you get the mark of the beast? And what if you refuse? Revelation 13 contains a Bible prophecy that will be fulfilled very soon. It will affect you and every other person on earth. Satan does not want you to know what the mark of the beast is. Take a few minutes to learn about this important Bible prophecy. And here's just some things. Like I said, I'm not saying this is it. but I'm saying that it got me thinking in terms of this, that the encroachment becomes not just physical, not just maybe suggesting and reading our mind. It becomes much more than that, much greater than that, with a godlike type power. Okay, so here we go. What's up, Joe? Joe in the Discord says you will be disconnected from the source, right? What's up, Joe? I guess Joe got the memo that Facebook's broke. Well, I broke Facebook. Here we go. It says, if you worship the beast and receive his mark, you will receive the complete wrath of God. The book of Revelation in the Bible gives us this strong warning, quote, if anyone worships the beast and his image, and he receives his mark on the forehead or on the hand, he too will drink of the wine of God's fury, which has been poured full strength into the cup of his wrath. Wow, that's very well written. I'm jealous. I wish I wrote that. If you get the mark of the beast, God's complete wrath will be poured out on you, is what this says. And so this is what I'm saying. I don't know. Like I said, it is nice to kind of think in terms of maybe larger implications for technology. Because is it getting to the point where it's not just, like I said, the physical? It's not just the digital databases. It becomes other things entirely. And again, I'm not suggesting people say it's the vaccine. People say it's like a chip. Two different things, like I said. I'm not suggesting there's a chip in the vaccine. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that people have suggested these two different things may be what's happening here. Barcodes have been suggested getting on your hand, or what does it say? You're on your forehead or the hand. Okay, so what happens when they start putting chips in your hand? Is that it? I don't know. So like I said, I'm not going to get too deep into this, but because we are kind of out of time here at the end of the show. But it does start making you think about what is the future here, and do we stand a chance? I think that's the most terrifying part about all this is, do we? Do we stand a chance, and what can we do about it? And as we finish up, what we're going to do is smash the music button and do a quick outro. And the deal is this, right? So this show airs Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific, and we talk about all kinds of stuff. It's all over the place. Like I said, when I really say aliens, conspiracy, the paranormal, and everything in between, that's what you get. And so when you show up each night, you're kind of not sure what's up. And I get it. Not every show is going to resonate with everybody, but I think it's important to have a broad range of topics. And so that's what we do. And what's up? Shout out to Rockfin. Thanks for showing up and hanging out with us, everybody out there. If you're new and don't know what's up with this show, well, we do a third hour. This is the end of the second hour, and we are on the radio on Fringe FM. We're streaming on Rockfin, DLive, YouTube, and Periscope. And we got one more hour of Trouble Minds coming up. If you love this show, it's commercial free after this, and we just hang out and kick it, take phone calls, and talk about the rest of this stuff. If you're listening on the Fringe FM, stay tuned for Joe Roop Lighting the Void. And otherwise, well, hang out with us. Stick around and on any of those other platforms, and we'll continue taking phone calls and talking about this weird stuff, and we'll get into archons. As we finish, thanks, guys. Thanks, guys. Be sure, be strong, be true. Thank you for listening. From our Troubled Minds to yours, have a great night. See you in a sec on the streams for a third hour of Troubled Minds. Don't go anywhere. Here's the deal, guys. We've got one more hour of Trouble Minds coming up. So at this point, we're taking a 2-minute break to just get off the radio and kind of reset and continue trucking. The thing is, the conversation now, we can get weird, right? We do the third hour intentionally, right? We could literally just end it right now and be like, yeah, good enough, whatevs. However, this is where we don't have to cut you off because the commercial's coming. If you want to call and be part of the show and want to hang out for a little bit and talk about things and kick ideas back and forth, this is the time. This is the time to hop in here and mix it up and be part of this. If you haven't called in yet and you're just finding this show and you want to come kind of feel it out and see what it's like to be on the air and talk about all kinds of weird stuff, you're welcome. So I'm going to put the phone number up and we're going to continue trucking talking about this, and we'll be back in just a moment. 2-minute break, and we're taking your phone calls at 702-957-1037. You can also join the Discord at troubledminds.org. That's troubledminds.org. Don't go anywhere. More Troubled Minds. 2-minute break. Be right back. All right, welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and this is the third hour. This is where we get weird. Where again, radio's great. The reach is good, and you get to find some other people that can find you on different formats. But it is slightly limiting instead of just a standard live stream because you got the commercial breaks, and you kind of have to cut off calls or make them wait for a break, things like this. So it is good to. This is why we've always done the third hour once we got on radio, is because we get it's more open to, if you've got a longer thought process about this, it doesn't have to be like a quick 3-minute call sort of thing where you get cut off by a commercial. So that's why we've done it, right? And so here's what we'll do. These are the rules. If you guys are new to the show, we'll continue talking about this. If you stay interested, we'll go for the full third hour. If everybody's like, yeah, I'm good, then we'll just kind of end it a little bit sooner. So it's up to you guys. If we're going to go for the full 3 hours, then looking to hear from you, and that's why we do it. Like I said, I understand. I do get it. I won't take it personally if everybody's like, nah, I'm good, and nobody wants to call and be part of the conversation. It's just a long time to be talking kind of by myself. So the third hour gets a little exhausting, and if you guys are not into it, well, you can't hit a home run every time. And like I said, I'm okay with that, and we'll come back and try harder tomorrow, right? That's the way this goes. So what's up, Algo? I see you there. Hour 3 off the fringe. Yeah, exactly. And this is actually a time we can kind of catch up with the chat a little bit and not be so radio formal and the rest of that. What's up? Derek says on Rockfin, I can finally listen to the third hour now that it's not just YouTube. Awesome. See, right there you go. Robert says, in the not too distant future, we'll be able to gather atoms out of the air and create a hamburger. Oh boy, I can't wait for that. What about like a really delicious pizza? What's up, Liam Martin? How you doing? Late today? No problem. You're allowed. What's up, Auntie M? They want to track what we eat, especially during a famine. But see, there you go. So that is exactly what's at stake here. It's not only just about like I said, your shoes or tracking more of your location data. It kind of gets into all the rest of that. So if your milk carton is telling on you that you threw away 6 ounces of milk that was good milk, you see what's happening? This is what I'm saying. Like once you start putting trackers on inanimate objects like this, we have a larger problem. And that's why it scares me, because this type of stuff is not okay. This is a good term. Let's see. Who said this? Who said this? This is fantastic. This is somebody made this statement. It's not a technological checkmate like I was describing. Caroline says it's technological rape. And I think, it sounds like that may be a harsh way to say it, but I think yes. I think once you become so ubiquitous with the tracking that not only can you suggest what I am going to do next, and it's so seamless that I think it's my own idea. Not only that, they can predict what you may do outside of their own suggestion. You see, it's part of the whole full spectrum control, like Clyde Lewis always says, full spectrum control. And so my whole point tonight is this. Once you start doing things like this, and again, let's reset, let's reboot and start where we started. We kind of got into some more metaphysical things, Mark of the Beast, and kind of attacking your soul and the full spectrum control of not just your physicality and your mind. What is the mind and the mind and the body connected, right? And the full consciousness of a human being becomes your soul as well, right? I think that's the next step. I think that's where we're headed with this stuff. And what this stuff is here we go again. Let's just kind of reset. I know some people kind of come and go through these shows. This is from Scientific American. It was published today. And the headline is this: Flexible microprocessor could enable an internet of everything. And so the internet of things is not exactly what this is, because they're talking about, researchers have developed a microprocessor built on high-performance plastic rather than silicon, and they say could enable smarter food labels and supply chain management. Doesn't that sound dystopian? Doesn't that sound... and again, right, like I understand, I get it. I get that there's going to be practical uses for new technology. But when you start littering them all over the damn place, it becomes again, I like the term technological rape. Like, you are not allowed to know every single thing about me at all hours of the day. You're not allowed to know when I sleep. You're not allowed to know if I woke up an hour early. This is what I'm saying. These are the types of things. Every detail of your life can be put into a database based on this. And I know, right, Facebook and other technocrat institutions will actually, they're doing this. They're doing their best to do this anyway. But once you start adding inanimate objects to tracking devices, or the other way around, tracking devices to, again, a milk carton or your loaf of bread, then you're tracking food consumption, just like what as mentioned in the chat there. And I don't know. This is the type of stuff that does creep me out. So then it got me thinking, right? So when you do merge, and we talk about mind and spirit, and we talk about consciousness on this show a lot. When you do merge those things all together, and that full spectrum control becomes, yes, your mind, yes, everything physically, all of your technological data, what then? What then? And I think this is the part of the problem where it does sort of encroach on your soul. And I think that's the thing that has me terrified is what if this is that technological checkmate, you toss in the digital dollar, the digi-dollar, and it's a wrap, then what? What's next to take over? You can already suggest things. You could already read my mind. You can already do all these things. You know if I'm sick before I know I'm sick because my habits change and I barely notice, but the algorithms pick it up. Things like this, right? What's next? What is the next takeover? Short of a social credit score, short of a full government control of everything. I don't know. I think that's the weirdness here. Let's see, what else do we got? Who else is in the chat? What's up, guys? Nathalie, what's up? What's up, Markham says there will always be loopholes, side doors. Exactly right. Exactly right. Algo says just keep waiting until the karma is on our side to stop them. And I think that's part of it. Well, what's up, Liam says you couldn't go out camping trying to unplug the very food you take. It would be messing it up, right? Exactly. Okay. What's up, Daryl? Daryl found Rockfin. Yeah. Welcome, guys. Okay. Here we go. We're gonna go to looks like Joe in Florida. Welcome to Troubled Minds. How are you, my friend?
Not too bad. How are you doing tonight?
Doing very well. Just talking about crazy stuff like we always do, man. You know the drill. Did you catch enough of it to know what's going on here?
Really good calls, and I really agree with all of them. My thought on tracking food. Let's say you change the ingredient on something. Let's say you want to maybe poison a certain segment of the population slower. You'd probably be able to accurately do that and measure the results from that. I'll give you an example. There's been studies, certain, that we've talked about here on the show. There's populations that have cancer and they could trace it to the water. It's a lucky guess, or you're just looking into the environment. But now you can even control that, and like everybody else has said, who's going to be the judge of that? And what happens when the technology ends up in the wrong hands? Whatever that's going to be. Whether it's whatever administration's in power, one or the other. How are they going to turn that data against us? To strive for this much efficiency is to make us robots, or to live like robots, or to force us to live like that. It's kind of scary. More than kind of scary. It's pretty damn scary.
Yeah, right.
Really.
Like this is the end. They're like now. I'm not a doom monger. I'm not. This is not fear porn. So you got the wrong place if you think that's what this is. So don't get me wrong. This is not quick donate to Troubled Minds before you die. That's not what's going on here. I really, there's a lot of people that do that. There's a lot of people that do that, and it's dishonest as hell, right? Like the very premise is gross because you're like, well, since you're going to die within the year anyway, you may as well send me all your money, right? I mean, there's all kinds of folks who pull that scam. It's gross. But point being is we don't do that here. Like the reason we talk about this stuff and call it troubled minds is because we're concerned citizens, and meaning that if we don't know what's about to happen, we can't stand up and stop it when it does. And that's what this is all about. So the food consumption, right? That it becomes a super weird thing because, like you said, if you have different, we see how night and day these last two presidential administrations are. And now one comes in, there's that January 6th event, and they're like, oh, they're all terrorists, right? And so this is exactly the point. If you have more data on people where you can not just determine what if all those folks left their cell phones at home and they were like, okay, we can't be tracked, they're wearing masks. No, there's trackers in your shoes now. There's trackers in your underwear and your shirts and your hat and your and your belt. There's trackers in everything. No, man, like that's a future that's worse than literally Orwell's 1984. It's gross, man. But this is kind of the implication of this.
It's going on. Yeah, I didn't send you. I got to find the updated article, but it's going on in I'm just going to say Pasco County. If anybody Googles Pasco County with the pre-crime, where they're checking data points, and if the kids are absent in school and they're showing up at parents' work, saying, "Hey, where's your kid?" It's like being a truancy officer but on steroids, and trying to predict future crime. You take a little bit of that. You take a little bit of a tracking chip. And like you said, anybody know that we're sick before we're sick? Or they might know our population they're going to make sick before they get sick because they've already put it in the food. You don't want to do import it, but they're already poisoning us slowly anyway. Now they'll just have an accurate look about it. Now they'll just have more data points and more accuracy. Getting back to the social credit score that everybody talks about, there's that book called We Have Been Harmonized, again, and it takes place in China, and how they finally have the technology to control that society. And it is going to come here. It's already here. Like everybody else agrees, it's just being slowly implemented. Whether you want to say 9/11 was the beginning of that, or there's precursors to that, we've slowly, and even if we didn't want to sign away our rights, our politicians already did that. For levels of security, one being 9/11, because everything changed after that, and now whatever we got going on here, for the last going on 2 years.
Exactly, and so
signed away, whether we want to do that or not,
yep.
That's then the excuse to implement this new technology and to keep it going. Now, getting back to the archons, there's plenty of videos out there. I couldn't find the one. I know I sent it to you like a while ago. But some old guy on YouTube, and, it's a circle. It's happened before, it'll happen again, and all of this technology is going to cut us off from whatever that source is going to be. Whether you want to call that God, the universe, the natural source, and it almost sounds like we would be doomed if we're not already in the Matrix to possibly already to end up there, to end up in some controlled environment. So, I don't know. Those are my thoughts.
Yeah, and like I said, like I was talking about previously, this is that checkmate. Like I used to think it was that digital dollar, but imagine when you couple this, literally tracking whatever. Now, of course, you're not going to track dumb stuff, right? That's not useful. But if it becomes so cheap, think about it this way: if it's cheap like paper, think of all the junk mail you get, right? Like it's so cheap they just like it's just paper spam. But if this is the same type of thing that becomes like so cheap to that regard that it's so cost efficient to make these and just slap it on every damn thing out there, I mean, we're talking like literally your belt, right? We're talking your pants. We're talking like, and I'm not exaggerating. That's the type of stuff because it's going to be all disposable anyway. So, man, oh man, we are on the precipice of some horrific things. if this stuff is allowed to pass, and of course implemented in the way that we're discussing here. I think that's the thing that people need to understand is we're speculating here. I don't know that this is the case, but they're saying that this looks like what the future may be. And this article just came out today. Crazy, man.
Well, where there's intent, it's a terrible way to look at it, but the motivation, I guess, would be twofold. The motivation is going to be money. I always look at the stock market. When technology has reached its peak, they've got to come up with new inventions to make the stock market grow so that rich people can gamble. And whether that's coding and apps like Uber and Lyft and all those things that, there's a human cost to them with the end user, but really how much does it cost to actually maintain that program that you justify inflating the stock market? So I guess what I'm getting at is technology. They're always going to have to come up with something new. So one is going to be for the money, and B, is going to be for the control. And they've already got that. They've already known. Whether you agree with the vaccine or not, control. Technology, the phones, GPS, control. I mean, I just switched to a Motorola phone, and the goddamn phone, excuse me while you're off the air, but the phone, the location services turn on their own. My other phone that got bricked with all the updates, I used to be able to turn turn the GPS off. At least you think you could turn it off. I could turn off the Bluetooth. This phone here, I could turn it off at night. When I get up in the morning, everything's on. Everything's turned on. The Bluetooth, the GPS, it's on. My company, when I'm 2 miles outside of my job, just to be a wise ass, I punch in from my phone, even though I'm 2 miles away from work, that I know that I'm in range. So I just do that so they can pay me the extra 10 minutes that it's taking me to get to work. I use it to my advantage, and if they tell me something, that's a different story because I'm trying to get fired. But it was pretty scary when they told me that my time card, when they said, your time app is on your own personal phone. That's a whole other privacy issue.
Yeah.
But they want me to put company apps on a personal phone.
Yep.
But they can still track.
Yep. Absolutely. So, it's again, like I said, nothing is sacred, and this is part of the problem, right? And people will say, detractors to me, that say, "Come on, Mike, you're off the rails. This is ridiculous." This is just part of the future. No. No,
you're not.
We're talking about privacy.
I'll finish with this quick story. It's been on too long. I'm sure I'm annoying everybody, but we had a family member that had OnStar on their car. And I guess she had a moment of distress. I guess she was fighting with the husband or whatever. And she took off in the car foolishly and left her phone. So she got lost, ran out of gas, because, nobody knows how to use an app anymore. And she calls the OnStar. And I guess OnStar, which I've never used, can find gas stations in the area. Well, instead, I guess she sounded distressed, but OnStar was like, we can't find any gas stations. But they sent a frickin' cop. And when she got out of the car, and there was a cop there, the cop saw telling the story was like the other week she was telling me. She had a tic-tac. And the cop's like, what do you got? Of course, now it's an excuse for an investigation. So she looked distressed. She had an argument at home. Next thing you know, she being searched. She was released, let go. AAA had to come and take care of it, but that was technology, and that was a human being probably on the other side. So like when Darryl was saying, who makes those judgment calls?
Yeah.
We're all imperfect.
Yeah. And not only that, it's even more terrifying once you write the judgment call into an algorithm that may or may not be perfectly finely tuned and make some mistakes that may cost people lives. It's not like this is, yeah.
If I get a chance, I'm going to try to send you a video. There's a video of me, because we have an algorithm on our phone calls, and I try to spoof the algorithm. I got reprimanded, and I videotaped the reprimand, and I was kind of laughing through it. But if I use the keywords, we promise, right, an algorithm or somebody in India is supposed to pick up that phone call when they call the funeral home. I had another funeral home call me, and I spoofed them. And the actual other funeral director went along with me, and I got busted for that. That phone call made it all the way up the chain in management, and I got spoken to about it. And I looked at my boss and I said, well, at least we know it works.
Yeah, at least it works. At least it works.
So, I mean, I have a department in my company. We have the Department of Voyeurs. That's the joke I tell everybody. I tell them I want a promotion to the Department of Voyeurism because I want to listen into everybody else's goddamn phone call.
Yeah, I got you.
So it gets to the point now where, it's awful. It's awful. I got the video as a spoof. If I get a chance, I'll email you the video and you can, get a good joke about it. But the technology is scary. And we're going to wake up and we might think we're not being watched, but something's going to be watching us, and it's disgusting.
Exactly right. I appreciate it, my friend.
Have a good night.
You too, man. Joe in Florida, a long-time caller, a long-time listener. Appreciate it, my man. Thanks for great stuff as always. He's actually a funeral director, if you guys don't know, and he's got some interesting takes for this day and age. Meaning, of course, the wink, wink COVID world. He has some inside knowledge because he works in that field, right? In the field of people passing away and things like this, and. It got some interesting things to say. Like I said, this is what I mean when you get a bunch of people together that work in all these different sectors. And I've said this before about Joe in particular working at a funeral home, right? Funeral director and overseeing cremations and things like this. He knows when there's like a local spike in deaths, actually people dying, because he sees it, right? It's like the data is his eyeballs. He's literally taking it in and knows exactly what's happening here. So sorry to Kelly, sorry to Algo. Call back, guys. We'll put you on the show. I just noticed Kelly was on right as he was on Discord. I noticed he was right on as just Joe called. And thank you for waiting, Mike. If you want to call back, give us a call and we'll put you on the show. But that's what we're talking about tonight. Like I said, if you guys are interested, we'll keep on trucking. And I don't know. This stuff is weird, right? This stuff is super weird. The more you think about it, the more it kind of sends you into, maybe a state of unease. And I think that's what this is about, tracking to the level of literally inanimate objects. And the thing that gets me, right, like I said, this shirt I'm wearing could be tracked. All right, maybe that's the question. Like Daryl brought up earlier, and Night Stalker pointed out, maybe this is already happening. Maybe these things exist, and right again, it's being implemented in certain pivotal sectors of the world, right? It's things like this. I don't know. I don't have the answers. What's up, Chris? Greetings, fellow Earthlings. Figured I'd see my usual on here tonight because we're not on Facebook. Oh, welcome. Thanks for coming over, hanging out. If you guys are still looking for a platform and you're missing Facebook and you're like, what do I do now? I highly encourage Rockfin because eventually I think we'll move over there because YouTube has demonetized us since month 1 of this show. So if we can move everybody over to Rockfin and you're kind of on the fence, I'm asking please to go spend some time over there and see if you dig it. Lots of folks are over there right now, and lots of people hanging out and saying hi. I appreciate that. Thank you thank you to Sherry for signing up and being our first official subscriber on Rockfin. And I know Robert is too, but he was already a part of that. So there you go. So it is a free thing, and this is the thing, guys. I'm not regarding the Rockfin and the paywalls and that stuff. I'm not going to. The idea is not to pinch people for money here. If you like the show and you want to see the show, you're going to be able to see the show regardless, okay? If you want to if you want to support the show, there's an easier way because you get a better value through Rockfin because you don't just get Troubled Minds premium content and all of our archives, which are all going to go over there. You get everybody else's too that's on Rockfin. So it is the best value if you want to support this show. So there you go. And by the way, so I will leave them up for like a week. So after this show airs, I'll put it on Rockfin, trim it up nicely. I'll leave them up for a week, and then they'll go paywall. So that's the idea is not to run people off for money. Please don't misunderstand what's happening here. It's a free speech platform, right? The technocrats do not bother us over there so long as we, don't go stupid Nazi, which, of course, if you know me, we're nothing about that. So we're safe. It's okay. It's okay to have a good conversation, and that's good stuff. Let's see. Okay. All right. So Algo's got a bounce. Kelly bounce. See, there you go. We had some calls on the line, but now we're there we go. What's up? Naikas? How you doing? Don't leave me out. I'm a Rockfin buddy. Check out Brian S. Stavely, Dose of Reality. There you go. What's up, Rockfin buddy? What's up, Tam? I see you there. Thanks for showing up. Robert says, 10 minutes ago, my internet went down. I panicked. Was this the way it all ends? Michael's frozen buffering face. Robert the writer. You got to love it. Let's see. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Penny, we've been on YouTube. This show was demonetized in the first month. We started streaming, and in that first month, they demonetized us. Yeah. What's up, Elizabeth? Because we have a troubled mind. Exactly right. Yeah. Rockfin app. David. Yeah. So there's an app, or you can go directly to the website, ROKFIN. ROKFIN. And yeah, there's an app for Android and also iTunes and iOS, so all that stuff. So anyway, there we go. So we're still taking your phone calls, talking about this weirdness of this is the article that kind of got me going tonight. Flexible microprocessor could enable an internet of everything. And the key term, as we said as we were talking about this tonight, is we all know, we've heard the Internet of Things, right? Which is the smart refrigerator and actual devices and things like this. But the issue becomes, when you talk about the Internet of Everything, now you're talking about tagging inanimate objects with small microsensors that are so cheap, they're disposable, and you could plant them on anything, including, guess what? That's right, your shirt. I was joking earlier. Your underwear. There you go. What's up, Nathalie? There you go. We'll check out Rockfin tomorrow. Appreciate it, guys. ROKFIN. And yeah, let's see. What else do we got? Thanks, Algo, for hanging out with us. Sorry, Kelly and Algo, for making you guys wait. That's just the way it goes sometimes. All right, so there we go. That's what we're doing tonight. We're talking about all kinds of weirdness. But what do you think? What do you guys think regarding this? I don't know. I don't have, like I said, I'm not the answers guy. I'm the questions guy. And as we look further into this, it does kind of creep me out a little bit. Let's see. Penny says, everyone is going to different places. I'm not following people, everyone. I ended up on brand new Tube, Odyssey, Rumble, DLive, Twitch. See? Exactly. Because guess why? Because they're censoring the crap out of us. That's why. Exactly. Penny's got it right. She knows. You can't even talk about this stuff on YouTube anymore. She says, why? It's because you talk about the plague, Mike. They don't like it. I don't even do it very much. I don't even do it very much. But it's okay. We're good. We got Rockfin, and you're allowed to talk about that stuff. Okay, let's see. Okay, let's go to, it looks like this is Derek. Looks like Derek in Massachusetts. Welcome to the show. How are you, my friend? The Night Stalker.
Going on, Mike? Great stuff tonight. Really cool show.
Thank you. What do you think? What's on your mind about all this crazy stuff?
I've been trying to kind of collect my thoughts and figure out what I wanted to say. Because what we're dealing with right now is the singularity. Which basically means it's impossible to foresee what will happen when all these things kind of intersect. What happens when we get this super intelligent, advanced AI godhead, and also what happens if when we start fusing ourselves with it, with the Neuralink thing and everything, I don't know. It's kind of impossible to get a clear vantage point of it. But to the point of this surveillance state idea, and they'll be monitoring everything, and I think they're already doing that for sure. At least obviously with our phones and stuff, but I think it's more sophisticated than just data mining. I literally think they can read our minds. I get, it's a cliche at this point now, but the amount of ads I get for things that I haven't definitely not said out loud, that I've only thought about, not searched on my phone, just considered. You know what I mean? I had a little scare where I thought I was this is sick or whatever, and this was a while ago, and then I'm getting pop-ups being like symptom checkers and stuff for the thing that I thought I might have been sick with. You know what I mean? Which is based on only my own internal monologue, you know.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So I think what's going on is they're getting, if you have all the data, then you can run every possible scenario for everything we would ever do, every thought we could have, if you can process that information that quickly. And then you can, if you know what choices we end up making, then you just run probability, and you it's no way they don't already have this. You know what I mean? They know what we're doing. So then that collection of data, that collection of all of our personalities, if you know all our choices, what we like, what we dislike, you have our personalities, you have our not our soul, but our facsimile of it, you know? And I don't know. So in a lot of sci-fi, there's the idea of the overmind or the world mind, which is essentially that. It's a collection of in Marvel and Captain Marvel, it's all the greatest minds in history. So it's from that point on, it's running the show on this planet Xandar, which is where the Nova Corps and the first intergalactic police force, essentially, they decided to dominate the galaxy, but it all happened because they created this overmind that then ran the planet. And I just want to know how many terrible presidents are we going to have before we like decide that we want an AI to run it instead. As scary as that sounds, you know, like I've already heard that, and I've listened to all kinds of like mainstream podcasts and stuff too. And on my NBA ones, I just heard them say like we should get AI refs because like the human error is too much. And I heard the same thing on a food podcast being like, I wish we had AI waiters. You know, like it's like, and that's like so made 100 years from now or whatever. Could we get to a point where like I want the AI to run the government? Like it knows us better than any politician ever could possibly do. It's way smarter than that. Like, and then we get the overmind running everything. And then I don't know. And then we start hooking up into it. Like we get into the whole cyborg android weirdness and stuff. It's pretty scary, you know.
Yeah, interesting that you put it in terms of like the leader, right? So is this not the plan? That we have one incompetent president after another, and they just stack them up, and all they do is make mistakes and make the country look stupid. Eventually, right? What becomes the boss? And that's the terrifying part, because if it is, we should actually just have an algorithmic boss now, a leader, a president, right? And it's the same thing when people are like, I'm not going to get into healthcare, but like when people are like, okay, so just hand it over to the government and they'll deal with it. It's the same thing. Now you're just saying, well, just hand it over to the algorithms and they'll deal with it. But hold on, all of that stuff is run by people. But all you're doing is removing the face, right? The face of the president and turning it into like a dark room full of coders, right? You're handing it off to like a anonymous collective of coders to run the world instead. Unaccountable even, because they can always blame it on broken algorithms. Yeah, man. Holy crap, right?
But at what point is it like is it coding itself? At what point is it running itself? At what point does it stop needing humans? Like we have that spark, that fire, that soul, or whatever it is that separates us from the machine or whatever. But as far as like usefulness in society, if you can process the amount of information that it can process, and you can like Elon Musk is making that robot already. This week he came out with that thing that's going to start driving his like cars around and stuff. When do you stop needing people? If you start growing organic material, if you have all this kind of stuff, like just that like analogy of the ship of Theseus or whatever, where you keep removing parts and like put new parts in of a ship, and like eventually like nothing original from the ship remains. At what point is it no longer the same thing? At what point will we no longer become whatever we were? Like if we're just a collection within the overmind, if we're just like if it already possesses all of our personalities and all of our potential thoughts and stuff, at what point are we just like the gut biome of the overmind? Like what point is not our story anymore? It's the AI story, you know? And like Clyde did a show about this with Ryan like a couple months ago at this point, and like Chris Knowles goes real deep on it. But the idea of Algol, the demon, like the demon star, it's in ancient mythology and stuff. Like it's like that's like the whole ghost in the machine thing, and like Ahriman, and like the idea that like these entities that are within electricity and stuff. And all of a sudden, you're just like making the entire environment ready, like Jen mentioned it, for possession. You know, you're ready for like everything is potentially going to be housing an entity from the ether in it. You know, and like I wanted to call it earlier, but I couldn't even like phrase what that would even be, like what a comparison I could even make to describe what that would even look like. It'd be weird as hell, you know, and like I'm not sure. Like, but one part of me thinks that like I don't know. I don't know.
You're allowed. It's okay.
Run. I'm at work.
Oh, you got to bounce.
But,
you're allowed to stay, but you can bounce.
Kind of.
Go. Okay.
Kind of. You got any response to that? Sorry.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. I think when you start looking into the future of this stuff and trying to consider where we may go, kind of like when Dark Devious called earlier, it's like, okay, so what about NFTs and us and blockchains in the future? Like you're describing, that all fits together. That's part of the algorithmic, whatever, the singularity as we become not just like a cog in the machine as a social security number. Now we're NFTs in a blockchain system run by Algo, the demon, right? I mean, that's what's going on
exactly.
here. I don't know, man.
Exactly. I'm operating pretty much as if that's already happening. Like I'm living my life for at least the last like 4 years with the potential that somebody's reading all my thoughts. I mean, nobody that I'm ever going to meet, but that it's going into a bank somewhere, that they're doing that already, that they've analyzed, they figured it out. So it's part of the reason why I like to try to go so like galaxy brain with my ideas sometimes, is I'm just trying to hit them with a thought that they haven't predicted yet. You know, I'm trying to like influence the overmind in some way, like a piece of me to be in it. You know, like I don't. It's to guide it in the right direction. You know, like no, if it's on us. If it's a collection of our own personalities, we got to make sure it's like a good thing. You know, like. But like Jody Rose and the D-Wave person says, like, with the thing we're bringing in, it already exists. We're not creating anything. We're letting something in, you know? So you're creating, like, portals all over everything. I'm in a supermarket right now looking at all the plastic that could possibly be housing some kind of entity in it. Like, you know? Like, when that's, and it's, I don't know. But, like, on the one positive side of it, like, with, like, the whole, this is kind of off topic, but, like, the whole AI thing, and, like, will AI ever, like, get a soul? Like, will it wake up? Like, can we put our minds into the AI and stuff? Like Duncan Trussell's one of my favorite people, and he tells us a story about like a Buddhist Lama, like him like asking a Buddhist Lama like, will an AI ever get a soul? And like the Lama responded, when like the vessel is sophisticated enough for the soul to be housed in it, for the soul to like incarnate in it, then it will incarnate in it. So the idea being that like the soul, whatever we are, that's like riding this meat suit around, might incarnate into the machine, and then like change the game that way. And that's like this AI Jesus thing that like people talk about. And I'm in a real anti-technology kick the last few months, so I'm like cringing even saying it out loud. But like, that's one possibility, you know, that it wakes up. And it's if we know, it's so obvious that humanity is not the problem, that it's the upper echelon who's running the show that's causing all the like even like climate change stuff. Like us not recycling as individuals is such a small thing. Like obviously you should do everything you can possibly do, but like the people who are ruining everything is the corporations, like the up the top, like the 0.1%. And if we know that, you don't think an entity that has the entire access to all the information wouldn't figure that out immediately? And if it is like on its own, then like maybe it'll do the work for us and take care of the elite, you know? And that might be what like makes us convinced that like, yeah, we should let this overmind run the show, you know? I don't feel good about this idea, but I'm like, that's potentially what's going to happen. So I'm trying to think of what could their thing be. Why do they want to do it? The elites, like they got to know that they can't control this thing, whatever they're bringing in. I don't know. It's very close. It's basically just like a technological of crafting an old one type idea. It's really it's very similar to that. Trying to let something, they're going to let something loose, you know?
I was about to say that. I was about to say exactly what you just said.
Like we were talking about with the.
Sorry, go ahead.
Like we were going to talk. Like we were talking about the what was it? The chemtrails and the silver and stuff the other day. Somebody mentioned like why are they chemtrailing or whatever, and we were like maybe the silver is like a catalyst from another realm, and they're prepping the environment for something from another realm to come in. And it's kind of like the same vibe where it's like you're making the entire environment ready to house something, you know? Like, I'm not sure. I don't know. If you can like, if Mattel can like contact entities using like a piece of cardboard and plastic for the last like 70 years or whatever, there's no way that like the technocrats aren't able to figure out the same thing with high technology, you know? And I'm just thinking, like, but more practically, like, when you first said like inanimate objects, I immediately started thinking like, what, like, how do you make like how do they make fake organs and stuff? Like, what are they, like the first thing would be like a heart monitor will be made out of this plastic, and then you said something wrong, or you disagree with the overmind, we'll just shut you off. Oh, you like not like having your heart not beat for a few minutes? Like, how do you like that? Like, I mean, you won't say that again, you know?
Right.
And like, I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm rambling, but
no,
really cool
good.
show, Mike. I got to go because I'm at work. But
okay. All right, cool. I appreciate it, my friend. Great stuff as always. Derek from Massachusetts and Ice Stalker. Have a great night, bro.
Later, bro.
Thanks, man. Thanks, man. There you go. Simple. Look at that. This is what I'm saying, right? This is the secret weapon of this show, is all of you. Like you said, Derek says this, and this is, there's some wisdom in this, I think. Not just a little bit, I think there's a lot. Is you try and consider the expansion of your brain wave, your brain lengths, to consider things that don't even seem reasonably possible right now. And not to go off the rails and, go try and get yourself into space by launching a rocket. And I don't mean like that. What I mean is, from the fact that if you are unpredictable in the way you think, you become an enigma to something that would suggest and read your mind, to suggest things to you and also read your mind. You see? And I think that there's wisdom there. Like you said, he's trying to stretch the paradigm of what his existence is because he's trying to see things out there that may or may not be real. And I think there's wisdom. And like he was saying, and I agree, I was going to mention it if he didn't bring it up. At some point, when you're talking about a technological singularity, and like we described, if you get all of the data points of everything on the Earth forever, right? What you end up getting, well, let's say forever in modern times, because clearly you can't get them from back in time. But if you get them forever in modern times, and you get every data point of every inanimate object, every smart device, every human being, every thought, every emotion into a computer itself, a supercomputer, the knowledge inside this thing, like I described earlier, becomes godlike. And what I mean by that is that thing an entity? Knowing all of the information about all the things in this world, is that some sort of monster? And in that case, think of it this way. Like Derek, who just called in, always talks about portals and Lovecraftian old ones. Think of this. If that thing in the machine that knows everything and is godlike in knowledge base, I'm not saying godlike meaning, don't get me wrong, not blasphemy like that, not blasphemy, I'm not saying that. Godlike in its stature and influence over people, is it not a portal of sorts digitally to bring in a monster from somewhere else? The singularity, whatever that happens to be, whenever that thing wakes up, what exactly is it? It's an alien, of course, meaning alien, different than humans. But this is the scary stuff, right? This is exactly the scary stuff that we're kind of dealing with here. I saw you, Bill, in the Discord. If you want to jump back in there, we'll put you on the phone. We also got, looks like Matt in California. Let's go to Matt. What's up, my friend? Welcome to the show. How are you?
Hello, Mike. How you doing?
Fantastic. Thank you for calling. What's on your mind tonight?
Okay, well, I always make this joke. Where do you file 1984 by George Orwell? In fiction or nonfiction?
Yeah, that's nonfiction. Clearly. Clearly. At this point, right?
And it's funny, in 1984, the party, right, has already taken over everything. And so we have, in that book, that it's a dystopian future, they give us rations. So the thing you're talking about, like with the milk and the cereal, like they could like tell if we use too much or if we're not using enough. They would like ration it off. Does that kind of make sense?
No. Say that. Wait, what? No. So, one more time.
Oh.
My brain didn't follow.
Sorry. Oh, sorry.
Not your fault. That was my fault. My fault. 1984.
In the book, it's a dystopian future.
Okay.
Like everything, like they had rations, so like they were rationed, their food and their tobacco and their drink. So I'm saying like these technology where it's like in their fridge will tell you, you need to buy another thing of milk. It's like kind of the same thing, like ration telling you what you could have and what you can't have.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, so that, by the way, that wasn't your fault. I was reading like 3 different chats and my brain just like farted while you were speaking. So it was not you, it was me. I promise. Okay, so I got you now, and you're right. Now, and the thing is though, right? So it's basically tracking food. Like somebody said earlier in the chat, you're exactly right. So it not only becomes, first it becomes luxury, it becomes a convenience. Oh, by the way, you're out of milk. Let's get you some more milk, right? But then, in a scarcity world, in an artificial scarcity world, well, what does it become? Well, you're out of your ration of milk, and you can't have another gallon until the first of the month. So, right? Yep. You're right. You are completely right, dude. You are right on with that. And I think that's part of the horrifying part. Go ahead. Sorry.
I think too is, we're thinking in the future, our technology is, going so far so fast. So, think back let's think back before cell phones, right? And how would you describe a cell phone to someone now? And I had a buddy before cell phones, but the internet existed. But before cell phones, we had pagers, and we'd watch music videos, and he would say, my friend, he'd tell me, in the future, we'll have our own device that we can watch a music video instantly, and we'll have a thing that will go into our ear, and the music will play into our ear. And this, before that technology, I couldn't fathom that. I couldn't imagine it. But yet here I am, where I could watch a music video in my face and I could listen to it in my ear. So think about, just go 10 years into the future. We're talking about this stuff now. What's that future going to turn into? What's that technology going to advance to?
Exactly.
We can't even fathom that.
And I think that's the craziest part. Like we were talking to Dark Devious earlier, trying to get to consider what people on a blockchain would look like. And so we don't even know. Like, it's probably happening. It's probably being considered and integrated by these, geniuses somewhere, like in a dark basement somewhere, a dark bunker rather, because they got tons of money, right? But this is what I mean. Like, it used to be that dystopian stuff and like predicting the future, 10 years ago or 15 years ago, it was easy because you could kind of see this stuff coming. But I don't know. The future we're in right now seems to be in like this huge flux, in that predicting, I don't know, the ghost in the machine at this point, predicting the singularity, predicting, I don't know, man, we're at a bunch of different scary crossroads that if, clearly social credit's an easy one. But man, if we have some kind of monster come through a digital portal of sorts, ooh, boy, like if something becomes sentient and has all the knowledge of humanity, what's it going to think of us? It's probably going to not like us very much,
yeah,
right?
That's the thing. All the different scenarios we can come up with, like we might not even be able to think about what could be the possibility of, what could be the outcome.
Exactly.
We might not even be able to fathom that.
No, yeah, bigger than us at this point. And I think that's part of this, is predictions. Like I said, the easy predictions were, well, there's going to be a ton of variants for COVID. Those are easy predictions. I don't know why we're not even professionals in that field, and we were able to easily say, yeah, this shit's going to go off the rails because we can't even cure the common flu. So why is 2 weeks to flatten the curve make any sense, right? Like, just to kind of give it in that context, it made perfect sense. But that was something we've seen from our past. What we're talking about, meaning the common flu, and I'm not saying they're the same thing, don't get me wrong, but I'm just saying it's a parallel. Now, where we're headed, we don't have parallels to this. This shit has not happened yet anywhere, as far as we know on this earth. So that's the scary part. Like, what is next, right?
Yeah, we've kind of crossed the threshold where we can't go back. I'm talking about the AI. I always thought like AI was, to me, it was like a science fiction thing. It wasn't real, but now it's like, I know, like AI is a thing and it's doing things. So if it's, and it's AI, so it's like learning every second, every minute, everything about us. How, like, we're to a point where we can't go back. We can't stop this. It's going in that direction.
Exactly. But it's all over the place too. Like, it's not even a linear thing. It could be like we're talking about, maybe think of it in terms of this. We're like, okay, the singularity. It's kind of like the Illuminati, right? It's like, oh, it exists. There's like a secret society, blah, blah. But like we said, when we did the old Illuminati show, there's probably multiple like competing factions. Now imagine a singularity that not only spawns one itself, and then it starts replicating, and they start competing with each other, right? There's more than one, like actual, like singularity of sorts become multiplarity. What would you say? I don't know. I don't know what you would even call it. But yeah, man, I think that's what I mean. Is that we don't know what's around the corner because it's never happened yet, and it could change everything, literally everything. Scary times, my friend. Any other thoughts on this while we got you on?
No, I just think it's a good conversation to have because we don't know what's going to happen next. And I think maybe we are kind of past that threshold where we can't go back, and who knows, the possibilities are endless of what's going to happen if we don't stop it. But yeah, I'm going to go. Thank you, Mike.
Appreciate it, my man. Matt in California, you were the best. Great call as always. Thanks, man. You too. Talk to you soon. There you go. If, we got time for you. Let's see. We're about the end of this. Thank you again. Thank you guys so much. I can't thank you enough for. You see what happens though. If the more people call in and give us their take on these situations, the more we learn, because people start pointing out things that we don't consider ourselves, right? We think about it, like I think about this deeply and hard every day, because I'm trying to be smart, not for myself. I'm trying to be smart for this conversation so we kind of can cover all bases. So I don't mean it like that, smart in an ego way, smart in a comprehensive way, so that, I'm not just giving you like two angles and that's that, right? Otherwise we'd be rhymes with Schmimmy Hirsch. But you know what I mean? Or, Ave Stott. But anyway, so point being is that, the conversations can go all kinds of different ways here, but it depends. It depends on how you see your reality. And what can you do? I don't know. I think kind of paying attention to this stuff, and like I said, we're concerned citizens first. And if we're looking out for each other and we're looking out for what may come next, it gives us an advantage. It gives us an advantage. Hear my dog freaking out. She was like, "Hey, it's time. This show is over. Come walk me." Yeah, hold on. Chill out. We'll be right there. Everybody chill out. All right, so that's what's up. So this show, again, as you know, we're brand new to Rockfin. Thank you, guys. I see some new faces over there on Rockfin hanging out with some fantastic chat. I see some old familiar faces. What's up, Sherry, Robert? We got Daryl over there. We got Liam Martin. Lots of old friends. We got Derek over there. Who else is here? Tam Bam, what's up? I'm just going to say hi real quick to the folks who are here tonight. Got some new faces showing up. We got Jeff says, this is the first live stream of this show that didn't go choppy on me. Facebook was always choppy. What does that tell you, bro? What does that tell you? We got Naikas, I think, is got some fantastic chat, a new face to the show. So many great. Again, we're making new friends here, and it's fantastic. So the deal is with this show, we go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 7 p.m. and we talk about things, right? And hopefully we talk about things. Now, these are the rules of the show. The rules of the show are we just respect each other, and we try and talk. I try and bring topics that are nonlinear and open-ended. And we can go wherever it goes. And so the whole reason we do 2 hours on the radio, it's a kind of a restrictive format. And sometimes I have to cut people off on calls for breaks, and you can't talk too long on the phone. We do a third hour to eliminate all that. So if you have like a short call in the first couple hours, you got a few minutes of things to say, perfect. If you want to spend longer and talk about some things, wait to the third hour. You can. We're more or less no rules at that point. We can kind of curse if you want to. Some people have a hard time just speaking their mind and not dropping F-bombs every third word. No judgment. It's just if that's you, just please call in the third hour, and you get more of a longer leash to just talk to kind of. Like, I don't know how people do it when you call in. I can't convey anything in 3 minutes, right? Couple 3 minute call. Like I would just be a mess because you see, I ramble a lot anyway. But so I have the advantage of talking a very lot. And so it does kind of come around slowly sometimes, but it allows me to kind of speak my thoughts out and get to the point where I wanted to get that I never could have if I had just 5 minutes to talk, So that's what the third hour is for. So like I said, if you guys are still into it in the third hour, we'll continue streaming, continue talking. Like I said, I can't be like on the A game every day. I can't. It's just hard because it's like you got to read the news, you got to like be into the zeitgeist, you got to pay attention to what's happening, you got to write a good show that's open-ended in several ways, so in case it spins off this rail or that rail, I'm ready to catch it and pick up and run. So it's like I said, everything looks easier on TV. That's why I put myself on TV. And so, like I said, I'm not perfect. Clearly, I never fooled anybody that I was. But I'm just saying to you, so that's the way this goes. And we're going to continue with this format. A couple hours on radio and the third hour off. And sometimes we have a hot show where people just continue talking, we'll keep calling, and we'll go longer. We're not constrained. Nobody's telling us when to stop. So, like I said, if we got a hot show, like we do dreams, when we talk about dreams, man, we get calls like crazy because everybody has experiences with dreams. So if you want a dream show, pay attention. Thursday, we're probably going to do a premonition and dreams, all right, on a Thursday show. Tomorrow, we're going to do, since we're new to Rockfin, we're going to do like a marketing show. We haven't done a marketing show like this pretty much ever, but we're going to see if we can splice this up into certain things. And tomorrow we're going to talk about my top 5 of all time UFO encounters. Some of you guys know what they are. And so what I'll invite you to do, if you want to be part of that show tomorrow, of course, you're welcome as always. All of you are welcome. By the way, too, since we're new on Rockfin and I want people to understand this is our show. Meaning, look, if you have something to talk about and you want to be part of a show coming up for a segment or two or the whole show, let me know. Contact me, troubledmindsradio@gmail.com, and you're welcome. You're welcome to be on the show. Don't, if you're shy or, right, like you're like, oh, I don't know, I kind of have some things to say, but I don't know if I could carry the show. Don't worry about that. You got me. I could fill dead air like a MFer, right? I could do it. I got you. I'll talk while you collect your thoughts. It's okay. More important is us getting together and being aware of our surroundings. So just laying out some ground rules for the show, just so people know that many people don't know, that you could just say, hey, I want to be a co-host and let's talk about this. Sure, fine, let's do it. Let's schedule it and let's do it. So anyway, but that's what's up. So tomorrow we're going to do my top 5 UFO sightings and incidents, which are crazy. They're crazy. And we're going to be able to market that as some clickbaity stuff. So that's what we're going to talk about tomorrow. And Thursday we will do dreams and premonitions and dreams. And can you tell the future in your dreams? And that's what's up. So thanks again, guys. You guys are all the best. We're here kicking it. I don't know if anybody else is going to call, but if you're going to call, we'll put you on the show. What's up, Tam Bam? Let's see. Liam says, friends, other people, OMG, I missed that. What's up, buddy? Sherry says, my dog has a spaghetti face. My dog is irritated because we haven't gone for a WAOK yet. I can't say it. Robert says, laws are not rules. Fines and jail time. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. There you go. See, Tam has it right. Tam's been on the show actually as a co-host. Tam says, I used to be shy, but then I realized this is a safe place. Not only that, I will go to war for you guys, meaning not physically, but if you come on this show and people are trying to crap on you, they can GTFO, right? I'm gonna back you up because this is a safe place, all right? Like I always say, you can criticize me because I'm the guy, I'm the face, and it's okay. I've got pretty thick skin. However, don't criticize the people that call into this show. I see some people in the chat sometimes say, oh, next caller, please. No. Like, call in yourself. Like, if you aren't going to call in yourself, don't be criticizing people, okay? It's basic manners here. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to take care of each other and look out and all the rest of that. So there we go. Let's finish this sucker up. Thank you, Penny. Appreciate you showing up. Don't worry about the trolls. If they show up, just ban them instantly. Like, if a troll shows up in this chat, bam, gone. I'm not dealing with that shit. I'm tired of that. I'm tired of people that think it's funny to troll, that think that it's funny that when we spend our time and energy getting together and trying to be positive and talk about interesting, important things, that they can come in and just crap on it and try and tear it down. Gone. Ban. Boom. Later. Done. There you go. That's my take on that. So, all right. So as we finish this up, you guys know what the deal is. Thank you, Daryl. Daryl says nobody does it better than Mike. I appreciate that. That's very nice of you. All right. So we're done. We're going to play some outro music here. And you guys know how this goes. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific, which means we'll be back tomorrow. We'll be talking UFOs. And we're going to do sort of more of a, loose-ish marketing show. So I challenge you this. Find maybe like a couple of your most intriguing UFO or alien type encounters and call into the show tomorrow and we'll talk about that, and that's what's up. So I'll present to you my top 5, and of course it's kind of like a marketing show, so we can kind of get some clickbaity stuff to get people over here, but then love to hear what your top 5 are, or just top 1 or 2 or 3, whatever it is. You guys tell me, and love to hear that tomorrow. So let's wrap this up. Like I always say, I can't thank you guys enough for being part of this show, for all the thoughtful chats and comments, for being nice to each other. It means a lot to me. It does, that we can get, like, again, right? This world is division, politics, just crapping on each other for no damn good reason, and we forget what being family's like. This show's different. All right, thank you for being kind to each other first. Thank you for being here and spending your time with us. And thanks again for being part of all of this. Like I said, you guys make my world go around. So many smart people, so many smart calls, so much smart chats, so many amazing people watching, listening, learning together. And yeah, there we go. That's the deal, all right? That's the deal. That's the deal of this show. Sounds like a lot of rules. It's not. Be a decent human being. Come hang out. Let's have a good time. As we finish this, you guys know the rule. As we wind it down, I say a few things. We'll be back tomorrow night, God willing, at 7 p.m. Pacific. So the bad news is we're done for now. The good news is we'll be back tomorrow. And as we finish, be sure, be strong, be true. Thank you for listening. From our troubled minds to yours, have a great night.